finals today. We have a best of 5 between Team Dark Matter Academy and the Coin Flippers for a share of the 200 United States dollar prize pool. Bringing you the action, I am Jarl Carl, alongside Axeman87. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine. It's an exciting time, and yeah, this is the best of 5 that the whole season has been leading up to, right? These are undisputedly the 2 best teams in the Style Esports League right now, and yeah, I don't think I could be more excited to watch them go at it here. We're going to get to spend a lot of time with these teams, too, at the best of 5, right? So it should be a good time.
Absolutely, we do have that best of 5. Like we have been talking about already, the only best of 5 of the season, so definitely worthy of the grand finals. We will be hopping into Champions Select in just a couple of minutes, going to build some suspense here for just a little while before we do get into this game, but definitely kind of a matchup of titans here in the league, and not one that we get to see that often as it is, the champion of the Demacian division and the champion of the Ionian division, not 2 teams that we see going up against each other very often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously there's no games between these 2 teams. There's a couple that met in the All-Star event we had a few weeks ago, but yeah, there's not too much data on like how these 2 teams play against each other, right? So I think that even makes it more interesting in a lot of ways. But we do know a lot about the individual players, more so TDMA than Coin Flippers. We haven't really streamed Coin Flippers all that much, but we just kind of have the basic stats on them, not so much the personalities. But we have seen Coin Flippers come up through the playoffs here in the last couple of weeks, and to be honest, I kind of fall in love with the team. It's a good little team.
Yeah, they definitely have done pretty well for themselves, as we've seen throughout the playoffs, and TDMA qualifying by beating their sister team, TDM, in the semifinals. So that was definitely an interesting matchup to watch. But yeah, we haven't had a ton of Coin Flippers featured on the channel, but they are here now, and we're going to get to spend some time with them tonight. Best of 5, hoping to go the full distance. Could be very exciting, but regardless, we're going to get at least 3 games, which is just as good as you can do in any best of 3. So definitely the best of 5, a true test of these players' skill and also their endurance, as that's definitely more of a factor in those best of 5s.
Yeah, absolutely. Endurance is a big thing in the best of 5, but also momentum, right? A lot of times we see teams, instead of opting for kind of switching it up and trying to get better comps in drafts, to just kind of keep picking the same thing. Sometimes you'll pick something that you don't even play all that often, but it can still be valuable to play it multiple times in a row just because you get that momentum going. So too often, we see in Pro and even in Worlds, a lot of times Worlds finals are just like 3 and out, right? Because one team just builds so much momentum, so much confidence that they just kind of steamroll the other team. So I believe in these 2 teams. I don't think we're going to have a 3 and out. I think they're pretty evenly matched. So I think this should be a pretty good one, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a lot of fun, and we are definitely looking forward to it. And we are now into that champion select in that first game. So we'll see what these teams come up with. A lot of time in best of 5s, you mentioned the professional leagues as well. That first game in a best of 5 can kind of just be feeling out the waters of each other's draft, right? So trying to see what the other team wants to pick, what they want to ban, and kind of going from there. As opposed to a best of 3, you have a little bit more time. I don't want to say to throw away a game if you're trying something out, but you definitely can lose a game without it being, a huge kick in the ribs for these teams. So we'll see what they come up with in the first game. Pretty standard bans we have coming through so far, but I would not be surprised to see maybe some first-time champs, at least in the league, or some kind of combination that these teams have been working on in practice in preparation for this match.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I'm also looking out for in this draft is kind of just the meta that both divisions have kind of formed throughout the league so far. I know we see a lot of champions that maybe you don't see in solo queue or in pro play, things like that. I think Shen is a great example of that. Shen's a pretty solid champion, but we see it like all the time in Style Esports, especially in the support role and more in the division that TDMA comes from. That just the specific division escapes me, but yeah, we see Shen support all the time on teams like Syndicate and Team Dark Matter. I'm not really sure. I don't think TDMA plays all that much Shen, so it makes sense to me that they would ban it away. It's also just a confident flex pick, right? So definitely a solid ban there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with that. You mentioned that Shen, like we've been talking about, something that you don't really see a lot in solo queue. Olaf, kind of the opposite of that. I see Olaf quite frequently in solo queue. One of you and I's favorite champions to see in the league. That has been banned away. And one of the other ones that we tout a lot is that Ornn, which has been picked up here for, you'd have to think, Squib in the top lane. And definitely a strong pick, you know, even if it gets behind, can still make a lot of plays happen just off of the amount of gold that he gives to his team through those item upgrades, right? So that's a very strong pick. I wouldn't be super surprised to see an Aatrox against it. I know you hate Aatrox, Axeman, but it is something some people on my team have been a big fan of, actually, into Ornn, able to, you know, have some pressure in lane. So we'll see if that pick decides to come through. A lot of other power picks coming through straight away that hadn't really been banned out. The Sylas, very strong in solo queue. Bards in like every one of my games, I feel like. And the Aphelios, something I haven't seen in Style Esports in quite a long time, right? It almost always seems like it's on the chopping block, and it's finally been picked up here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of maybe reflective a little bit more of solo queue, the Aphelios. Maybe you see it a little bit more than you see in Style Esports, but yeah, you're right. It's seldom picked up. You know, normally you'll pick up more early game champions. If folks go for a later game champion, normally we'll see something like Ashe coming through for utility, something like that. But yeah, we're going to see JT's Aphelios tonight, and we'll see if he can carry. Now, it is paired with the Ornn, right? So that's a lot of late game scaling their potential for sure. So this is going to be a nasty Aphelios if it gets to the late game. But yeah, just to build on your point, you know, I don't know if I hate Aatrox. It's just kind of like there's this statistic where like nobody in Style Esports has picked Aatrox and won a game. So I feel like if you're going to pick Aatrox, you have to bring your A game or something, right? Or be like an Aatrox main, because you're right. Yeah, he can have a better lane into Ornn, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't take those odds personally if I was a top laner, even if I was a good Aatrox player. But yeah, that's just me, man. But yeah, you mentioned the Olaf ban. I think Olaf ban is pretty good anyway in any draft right now, in any elo, but especially into Bisk. Bisk has such a monster Olaf. He really hard carries games, even into teams that we thought would take down TDMA, right? He's just had massive Olaf games and managed to carry his team through the best of threes, and even into the playoffs. He was dumpstering teams on Olaf. So yeah, that's just a fantastic ban no matter what. And the Galio coming through as well. I would always recommend banning Galio against TDM as like an organization. I think that follows through on the Academy team as well. There's a lot of Galio players, a lot of good ones too. So yeah, it's definitely a solid ban, especially if they haven't picked up a support yet.
Absolutely. That Ashe you mentioned earlier has been banned out. I don't like the Ashe a ton in this game for recycle bin. I think there's a lot of threat on him, right, from that Aphelios, Din, and Ornn. There's just a lot of dive onto that AD carry, and I think you want something more safe. I would go for the Ezreal here. If I was in this game, do main AD carry myself. We are going to get to see that AD carry coming through as the counter pick here, as Maokai has been picked up. So going to have a wet noodle fight in the top lane. No Aatrox matchup today, but those are two champions that just heal a lot. Ornn can build items for himself. Maokai heals himself up. You know, a lot of healing actually already coming through, I'm noticing, on the coin flipper side, right? All of these champions can heal themselves. Hecarim with the Q, Maokai with the passive, Bard with the, you know, hot cocos versus shrines, depending on what skin's being used, the heal. And Sylas, you know, I think we've all seen that. Is he going to be taken down? Oh, looks like he's getting low. Just kidding. He's 75%, right? So I think Executioners will be a very key item for JT in this game. I would like to see that quite early coming through for him.
Yeah, and that's something I love so far from the Coin Flippers draft. It's going to be very difficult for TDMA to decide whether or not Coin Flippers can pull the trigger on him, right? You're talking about, you know, I think it's a 3v2 here in the mid lane. I think we had the numbers advantage, and then you get flanked by Hecarim. That's rough, right? I mean, that's real bad. You think you're fighting a 3v3, Sylas is super low, all of a sudden he's not. You know, there's a lot of surprising, I guess, the game mechanics coming through from the Coin Flippers that are going to be really useful in these early game skirmishes, and that's just kind of the meta right now. I mean, there's a lot of ways to drag the games out, but it's still super strong to have an early game skirmishing team. It has been basically all season, so yeah, I really like the draft from Coin Flippers so far.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, Caitlyn coming through here, I'm happy to see the Caitlyn over the Draven hover. I was about to moderately hardly flame the Draven pick here. I think there's just too many ways to get caught out, right, in this game. And I think the same applies to the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn's a little bit longer range, and something about the Draven that makes it even more risky is you kind of have to put yourself out of position to do damage based on where those axes decide to land. The Caitlyn's not quite the same. You have a little bit more range, and she's able to stay back if she needs to. She doesn't need to run forward before those axes. So I think that Caitlyn is one of the better picks here for AD carry. I still would have liked to see an Ezreal come through, a little bit less hard engage, which is what a lot of this team wants to do. So maybe trying to go for that just really solid team fight carry in the Caitlyn. I think there's risk that Recycle Bin is just going to get knocked up, CC'd somehow, and just blown off the map, right? Because, you know, Bisk, Squib, Moyo, and Jay of the Deeps, and even JT with that ultimate Moonlight Vigil coming through, if he has the Gravitum, you know, can just keep this Caitlyn in place. And Caitlyn has a very hard time if she's not able to move. And I think that's something to watch out for in this game, because there's a risk that Recycle Bin is just going to get taken off the map pretty early in these fights in a way that the rest of his teammates aren't. They're just tanky enough, able to get themselves out. Whereas this Caitlyn is pretty immobile. The net doesn't really count as a dash. And I think there's risk here that she's just going to get blown up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you have to view this draft, or rather, you can't view this draft in a vacuum, right? I mean, this is game one of the finals and in a best of 5, right? So could Recycle Bin have like executed on the Draven pick here? I think maybe, yeah. Draven's, you know, not a bad champion. I just think the cost of execution for Draven is already so high, and you're staring down the barrel of Morgana, Dark Binding, and also Xin Zhao early game ganks, that it's kind of like, yeah, you could snowball into Aphelios, but it'd be really hard. So, you know, why not just take the easier option here? And I think that's what they've done, maybe taking a little bit of a safer pick.
Oh, for sure. I don't think there's any problem at all with the Caitlyn here. You know, I'm a big fan of Ezreal, especially with Bard. Just works pretty well. But Caitlyn in lane, I mean, I think this lane, you know, one of the only champions that can contest Aphelios in lane is that Caitlyn with that extra range. So I think in that regard, this pick is really good as well. And, you know, she's really good at following up ganks and crowd control, which all of her teammates have pretty much in spades here. So I would look to see the traps being especially effective. In this game, I think is something to watch out for, and I think we will see as we go into this game. The Black Shield, you know, can only go so far, right? You can only use that on one carry. The Ornn can make himself invulnerable, or unstoppable, rather, I think, only for, you know, a pretty short period. And he's so tanky anyway, you know, pretty much going to be using that on the carries themselves. But other than that, not a whole lot of way that you can block, you know, multiple. The Hecarim ultimate coming through, Maokai ultimate, Silas, you know, borrowing somebody's ultimate. There's a lot of crowd control and healing that can come through from this Coin Flippers team. And so I think team fighting, TDMA has to be very careful that they don't let one of those aspects kind of just ruin the fight for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are definitely going to be looking more into that bot lane as the game gets started here. A little under a minute now until the spectator delay ends, and then we can load onto Summoner's Rift. But yeah, I just got a couple things to point out here in this jungle matchup, and that I mentioned that a lot of the strength in the Coin Flippers is going to be coming through in like flanks and kind of surprise mechanics where you think maybe you can win a fight, but then you can't because, you know, certain things happen. I think that in so much as that would work out for the Coin Flippers, I'm not really sure about Hecarim into Xin Zhao. I feel like Xin Zhao is just really strong right now, just as an early game jungler, which is, you know, probably the strongest type of jungler right now. You know, he's not on the same tier as Olaf, I wouldn't think, but he's still incredibly strong, always has been. So yeah, I think I'd probably take Xin Zhao in this matchup.
For sure. I think he does have a little bit less, you know, kind of gank potential as opposed to the Hecarim. Not saying that Zin's ganks are weak at all, right? Obviously, he can, you know, if he can get to you, he's just going to kind of blow you up, especially if he goes Halo Blades. And we'll see as we get into the loading screen here, you know, whether that Halo Blades is in fact coming through. But I think that is something to just kind of watch out for as we get into this game, is whether the Hecarim's, you know, he might be a little bit weaker, especially in that duel, but is he in, you know, in terms of ganking, is he going to be more effective because he does have that speed up available, has the ignite as well. So that's something to look out for. And I was just mentioning those keystones. I'll start off here with the Hecarim going the Conqueror instead of Predator. You know, we're not going to see that super speedy Hecarim coming through, but he will have a little bit more team fighting sustain and potential to do damage over a long term.
Yeah, and that means he's going to be more relevant throughout the game. I mean, if you went something like Electrocute or like something crazy like Phase Rush or something like that, Dark Harvest, yeah, you'd be doing a lot of burst, maybe in the early and mid game. But yeah, you kind of fall off towards the late there as champions like Rise and Aphelios are like starting to just delete you as you try to get the flank off. So yeah, Conqueror I think is probably wise into the enemy team comp. I mean, he might have some trouble fighting Xin Zhao in the early game, but I don't think that's ever the goal as Hecarim. So yeah, I think the Conqueror is probably just fine here. Just looking at the rest of the map here, there's nothing standing out to me as too crazy, but that was a really quick load here, Carl. So we are going to get into game here. and they're going to load into the fountains. And yeah, just to keep looking. To be honest, it's a little surprising we have both teleports here in the mid lane. I would have expected maybe something else from Silas. I think the teleport definitely makes sense on Rise, though.
I don't think the teleport is too bad, right? I think it's gonna have a lot of work, especially in the later game if they do want to mention the side lane, and I don't think that he's giving up a whole lot taking it. So I don't personally have a huge problem with the teleport. We'll see how they're able to use it. On the other hand, I'm also interested in the Guardian for Morgana. Something maybe I'm just like immediately forgetting. I don't feel like that's the standard keystone on that champion, but I might
don't
just be
think
losing my
so.
mind. So
Yeah,
it just looks weird to me, and I'm gonna just go with my gut on that and say that I think something's a little weird here. Maybe somebody in the chat who is a little more experienced than I am about supports can correct us on that, of course. But we might see a little bit of a fight here. Actually, Yoshiman are gonna be going in. Biss gonna have to flash away, going very low already at the start of this. Charismatic as well, trading a little bit back here. Squib running for his life. Moyo's arrived on the scene, but maybe he's getting a bit too close. Cabby is here as well. Do they know that Moyo's there? Yes, he does. Does he have the stun into the wall? There is that stun. Is the trap available for Caitlyn? Did not take it, but it does not make any difference. First blood going over, and it's Cabby picking up the first kill of the game here for the coin flippers just a minute in.
yeah, we've seen Cabby have some just fantastic plays in the playoffs so far. A lot of those Nautilus plays come into mind for sure, but yeah, showing their prowess here on Bard as well, even at level 1. So doing very, very well. Now we'll see if him picking up that kill is going to make a difference at all in this lane. I know, a lot of times Bard just like to leave lane, so if anything, that's going to make those roams a lot more impactful. But Bard, one of those champions that a lot of the strength comes through in the variability. A lot like champions like Varus, where you just you can either kind of roam and let your carry kind of stay in lane, soak up that lane experience, or you could just play aggressively, or just kind of stick with your carry and play it passively under tower. So we'll have to see how he plays this after getting that early kill. All right, yeah, and just looking so far, it's a little surprising to me Zero Arm's taking Ignite. I know I've seen Hecarim's do it in the past, but maybe a little bit aggressive here, especially since he's got that Conqueror. I would have expected maybe if he takes Ignite for a little bit more kill pressure that maybe he would have taken a similar keystone, but I guess not in this instance.
Maybe just trying to balance it out a little, right? He wants to be able to get those kills on the ganks, but maybe he's not as worried about, getting into them. Not a lot of movement abilities on either of these carries here, Moya or JT, right? So maybe saying, I want that team fight sustain and extra damage, but I just, kind of making up for that lack of Predator damage, going to go for the Ignite. So could be kind of a, hedging, middling argument there for himself that I don't think is too bad. We'll see if there is an issue with the lack of Predator in this game. You might see it actually right now. There's going to be a fight in the mid lane. Moyo going to get knocked back by the horse, but Bisk has arrived as well. Yoshiman going in. He might be going into his death, going very low. Bisk picks up that first kill now, trying to get himself out. Zero Arm. That Conqueror is stacked, but he's going to have to back himself out of that one. And a gank just gone a little bit awry there by the coin flippers.
Yeah, and you don't like those if you're the Hecarim, right? So much of the strength of the pick was in the ganks, and the expectation would be, I'm going to out-gank this Xin Zhao, and that's how I'm going to that's my path to victory, right? Is I just need to stay away from him and make sure I'm picking up advantages in these lanes where they're not. Well, getting counter ganked kind of throws a wrench in the whole plan, right?
Yeah, for sure. A little more fighting in the bottom. These teams just going straight at it. Cabby taking a lot of damage as we move up into the top lane. Zero Armed against Squib. Nice unstoppable by the Ornn to get himself away from that one as we move now down into the bot lane. Cabby going to get almost burst down immediately. Oh, Bisk going to go through the portal as well. Recyclebin going to get focused out as well. Bisk under the tower, but he is going to make it out to safety. Recyclebin with a nice flash. Can he get to the portal? Yes, the flash by JT. Not going to pick him up. Recyclebin with a nice net to try to get himself out, and he walks off of the soil just in time. A great escape by the coin flippers bot lane. I was sure one of them was dead at least.
Yeah, for sure. It was really close there, but yeah, Recyclebin and Kevin got to be careful about this one. The flash from J of the D, Stark Binding goes wide. Oh,
didn't have the accuracy on that
here.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, you like to see it though. Like the confidence, especially, clearly not cowed by the fact that it is the grand finals, right? Willing to go in for that play, and I think that is admirable in and of itself. A little bit unfortunate for him that the direction finder wasn't quite where he wanted on that one, but asserting some dominance. He's saying, I don't even need that flash. I'll use it later.
Yeah, definitely. And, nonetheless, a pretty big cooldown. Now both flashes burned from the TDMA bot lane. So that is a ripe gank opportunity if you're zero armed on this Hecarim. And he's backing right now. Should be looking for this bot lane gank, actually. Bot lane is resetting as well. So we'll see if they do go for that option. But Dark Binding through on Cabby again.
Cabby gonna get taken out. Recycleman might be soon to follow. No mana on Jay of the Deeps, or JT rather, not able to proc that Gravitum. So no root coming through onto Recycleman anytime soon. But that's a nice trick you can do in solo queue. Pretend to back, and it's just so hard to not walk up in range of those bushes, right? It looks like they've backed. They should have backed. Everybody tells you they should have backed. Your intuition, etc. And they're just still in that bush. Dark Binding lands, and that's a great kill. Picked up there by Jay of the Deeps. A little bit unfortunate. It did not go over to the 80 carry, but JT has enough money for that BF sword when he goes back to base in any regard, so shouldn't make that big of a difference. But that early lead for Cabby and the bot lane of Coin Flipper is just not really working out for him in this lane. That gank that came through by Bisq was very well timed right after a bit of fighting, and nice control kind of taken back of this lane by TDMA that I think we'll see, especially after these first recalls come in, although they might be about to lose the dragon.
Yeah, and I mentioned Zero Arm just maybe moving towards the bottom side of the map looking for a bot lane gank. It looks like he's actually just looking for the dragon. They're going to pick it up uncontested. Notably as well, Cabby, instead of going back to lane, went straight to that dragon. So a lot of that solo lane experience is going over to Recycle Bin. He now has a level lead on the enemy bot laners from TDMA. So yeah, overall, kind of a positive trade for Recycle Bin and Cabby here, despite Cabby dying. And like you mentioned earlier, with Cabby having picked up first blood, this really just kind of brought TDMA bot lane kind of onto a level playing field, and now that they've lost the dragon, they're kind of back on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on that bot lane just a little bit more in a second, but we're seeing a gank in the top lane. Call the Forge God does come out onto Charismatic. He's going to be just taken down straight away, eviscerated off of the map, not able to get any crowd control down or even attempt an escape, but he does keep his flash for it, so that should be good for him in the future. But another nice kill coming through for Bisq, 2-0 now.
Yeah, for sure. And the gold lead is now at 1.1k in favor of TDMA, so doing very well so far. But, yeah, it's practically even here at this point at 7 minutes, so they will definitely need to extend that lead if they want to really take control of the map. Rift Herald is coming up in under a minute now. We'll see if either the junglers make a play for that. Zero Arm taking away enemy red buff here. Bisq is onto him, though. Might be looking for the fight. Zero Arm does have the level, but I don't think he can fight the Xinjiao regardless. Yeah,
Ultimate's available though. Yeah, everybody's just going to kind of walk themselves out, but that ultimate advantage could have proved interesting if that fight did continue. But speaking of the bot lane still, it feels like Recycle Bin and Caddy kind of had the lead from that early gank, and then they kind of gave it away as that kill went over, and then I feel like JT and Jay of the Deeps kind of just squandered that lead once again. They find themselves, down about a wave of CS. They weren't really able to recall, and the wave control was kind of rested back in favor of the Coin Flippers bot lane, and as that dragon went over, they kind of were able to shove it in, make JT and Jay of the Deeps miss a few farm, and it seems to have gone right back over into the favor of Coin Flippers. So a little bit unfortunate for the TDMA bot lane. Both these AD carries should get a nice recall off. Nice dodge there by Recycle Bin. They should get a nice back timing, and they should both come back with a bunch of AD on the cards. So I don't think anybody's in any real trouble. I just think that the advantages have kind of gone back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. Zero Arm looking for the counter gank here, as it looks to be the TDMA side backing off for the time being, maybe getting the reset there like you mentioned, and everyone just kind of disengages from this one. But up in the top lane, Charismatic has been having a pretty rough time. Those early ganks have really done a number on the Maokai, but he picks up a plating here. That'll be a little bit helpful for him, but so far just kind of an Ornn dominated lane, which is a little strange. I mean, normally you'd expect the Ornn to do not so well into Maokai, at least. The gold lead in that lane is 600 gold in favor of Squib, so doing very well indeed. Those are some strong early ganks from Bisq, but that Rift Herald has since spawned. Is up right now. We'll have to see if Zero Arm makes a move on that one. Bisq is in the area as well, so it might see a fight over the Rift Herald here in just a little bit.
Definitely an important objective, especially that first one. You're talking about the top lane. I think you can expect Ornn to win some matchups. I don't think you'd expect Ornn to win matchups by this much, right? He is up about 35 CS at this point, doing really well for himself, up about 700 gold. Almost 900 gold now at this point. So very strong lane there for Squib so far. That gank just really, really hurt Charismatic and burned his teleport as well. So this Maokai going to be kind of on the back foot for the next couple of minutes here. I don't think it'll be any real lasting damage onto him. He is still a big, beefy tank. But, for the next couple of minutes, that power definitely is a lot weaker.
Yep, Dark Binding over the wall, finding Cabby there, but nothing too much coming out of that one. Just kind of a little blind skill shot for you there. But Now it's just JT and Recycle Bin alone in the bot lane for the time being. Both supports making their way back to the area, but yeah, to be honest, this is going pretty even for both sides, right? I mean, we saw Jay of the Deeps go for the roam. We saw Cabby kind of matching.
They have to hold that
we go.
thought as the gank comes in the mid lane. Moyo just taken out straight away. What a great ultimate from Zero Arm. That onslaught of shadows really shoving Moyo back into the middle of the mid lane with that fear on that. Very well aimed there by the Coin Flippers jungler, as the Herald was traded back though in the favor of Bisq.
Yeah, that's a powerful tool, right? I mean, you still have the turret plating up, so you can get a whole lot of gold out of this Rift Herald. But you know, kind of the smarter you are with it, the more gold you can get out of it. So we'll see where they drop it there. But
Zero Arm going very low. He's gonna get taken out. Jay of the Deeps picks up that kill. A little bit unfortunate. Red buff didn't go over to the AD carry, but the teleport forced out as well. Not really forced out, but expended there by Squib. Dragon is available, so it should work out in the end, and this might actually be a bad fight for the Coin Flippers as the fight does go in. Jay of the Deep's trying to get himself out. The Call of Forge guy comes through to knock up Recycle Bin. Cabby able to get to the portal, actually, and escape. These escapes are just great by this bot lane. Coin Flippers, they might have to give up the Dragon, but they at least don't give up their lives.
Yeah, doing well to get out of that situation. I think they're probably going to drop the Dragon here. Yeah, that is going to go down. So it's one dragon apiece, and that dragon soul is going to be oceans. So no cloud dragons this game. It's all oceans from here on out, but probably the most powerful soul, I would have to imagine. And both teams really can make a pretty good use of it as well. So this will be hotly contested indeed, but keep in mind, Biz still does have that Rift Herald up, so a little bit more map pressure there. The gold lead is dead even now, so both these teams very even, despite the score line being 4-2 in favor of TDMA. So we'll have to see if that changes over the next little bit. It does seem to be that the Coin Flippers gold is growing a little bit faster than TDMA's is. So we'll see if that indicates anything here.
Yeah, Charismatic has been alone in the top lane for just like almost 2 minutes straight after the teleport came through from Squib, so they were getting 3 lanes of income versus just 2. I think that had a lot to do with it, as Charismatic actually has almost caught up in gold. Has dropped down a little bit as this wave has been picked up by Squib, but he was almost within 100. Actually, after those platings went over, he was able to get 2 platings for himself, the equivalent of a kill, and about 3 waves of farm. So Charismatic keeping himself in the game, at least for now, has, you know, the components of an item, has the passive, a little bit of health, a little bit of magic resist, so he's doing okay in the top lane. Is against the entire Sunfire Cape, so that definitely never feels good up there in the top lane, but he's at least sticking with it for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest kind of discrepancy in the gold as far as just champion to champion goes is in the mid lane here. Yoshi Miner has like a 700
Cabby.
gold lead. Oh no, Cabby.
Gonna get just picked off. No escape for him. The ultimates were expended. The Moonlight Vigil did come through just to make sure there would be no magical journey escape, as Cabby's been doing that many times this game. But a nice kill picked up there by TDMA. Just kind of wandering through the river with no vision, gets picked off for it.
Yeah, definitely one of the roaming supports, but you got to be careful of that one. Squib and Charismatic going at it up in the top lane, and Charismatic seems to be doing better than he has been, but Squib's still doing a lot of damage to that brittle proc. And yeah, both of them just kind of disengage here for the time being. As far as objectives go, it's going to be a little under 3 minutes before we see any kind of epic monster spawning. So it's going to be mostly lane play here for the time being. It's going to be a gank on Moyo. They're going to call that one off. Rise managed to get out of lane just in the nick of time there. That definitely would have spelled doom for Moyo. I have to believe that would have been a pretty solid gank there. But yeah, Zero Arm just not having a whole lot of... Oh, no. Tempered Fate goes wide. Doesn't hit JT or Jay of the D's on the bot lane. That's a rough one. Pretty solid cooldown there from Cabby. But yeah, just not a whole lot of solid ganks from Zero Arm. We've seen a couple here. He has 2 assists, so you know, he's got something, but just maybe not as much as he would have hoped here so far. Might see something in the top lane.
Oh, actually back down in the bot lane. The ultimate going to come down. Jay with the great binding, going to get landed. Recycle Bin going to get taken out almost straight away as we move up into the top lane for this 2v2. The teleports are not going to be available. Squib flashing out, going to get taken out. Zero Arm trying to keep himself alive. The Triumph heal, not quite enough. Charismatic now dueling it out. Wet Noodle versus Big Spearman, as Bisq now running himself away. No mana really on Charismatic. Maybe enough. The flash twisted advance, but he has no mana for the Q under the tower.
Wow.
Bisq now on a rampage and a great turnaround. The mana just not available for Charismatic. He gets taken out and that Herald push in the top lane could be strong, kind of countered out by this push in the bot.
Yeah, he's not going to get as much turret plating, right? The turret plating dropped about a minute ago, so maybe would have done better to drop it earlier. But I mean, he gets the turret, right? Gets that first turret gold, gets the kill onto Charismatic as well. I didn't think he could do that, to be honest. I really thought Charismatic had him there, but yeah, very well played from this to be able to kind of coax Charismatic out of the tower, I guess is what happened. Baited him down there, but yeah, no, I really thought Charismatic had that one.
Yeah, just no mana available for that Q, I think would have been enough. Cabby now could be in a decent amount of trouble. Just kidding, actually. Gets over the walls. We should be okay. Gonna take some damage from JT, but he definitely will survive that situation. As, you know, we had to cut away from that bot lane fight. Ended up being a 1-for-1, I believe. Recycle Bin and Jay of the Deeps both going down at the end of that fight. So 3-1 on Jay of the Deeps is Morgana here. He's trying to go for that, you know, supportal carry. That you do like to see every so often, as we might see a little fight over the Scuttle Crab, actually. They decided to kind of give it up as the top laners have rotated down to the bot, so some rotations are coming through on the map. The Dragon's up in less than a minute now, so the next big objective to fight over. Moyo goes up to the top lane. He will have teleport in time, I believe, so shouldn't be an issue there. This could be a 5v5 for the Dragon.
Yeah, and as far as Ocean Drags go, oftentimes how it goes to the first Ocean Dragon that spawns and the last one, somebody solo, the hottest contested, because kind of the buffs it provides that regen. Oh, here we go. Tempered Fan on JT.
Coming through. JT could find himself in a decent amount of trouble here. Gets hit with the Black Shield, but it just doesn't make any difference. He's taken out straight away. Yoshi Miner is now on a killing spree. Jay of the Deeps going to get found out by that ace in the hole. Onslaught of Shadows goes over the wall with a nice fear onto Moya. A little bit unfortunate. Nice double stun coming through, and this is just evisceration off the map here. 4-for-0 in favor of Coin Flippers as they split off for the tower and the Dragon.
Yeah, that was massive damage coming through there from the Coin Flippers, and Yoshi Miner showing that they're very far ahead indeed. But here's Call of the Forge God.
He's gonna get knocked. Oh, that heal coming through. We talked about it in Champ Select. There it is in action. Squib is just baffled, you have to feel at this point, scratching his head saying, whoa, how did he get so much health back? That was 2 half-health heals within the space of 10 seconds there for Yoshi Miner. Recycle Bin picking up that kill, and Coin Flippers just blow this game wide open with that fight.
Yeah, Carl, and there is no grievous wounds coming through from TDMA, so that healing is completely uninhibited. All the healing coming through from Maokai, all the healing coming through from the Silas, all the healing coming through from Bard, all of it completely uninhibited. I mean, Maokai even has a Spirit Visage. There's so much healing here on Coin Flippers. TDMA has to pick up a grievous wounds item, at least on one champion, right? I mean, it's just so important. Healing is going to be the biggest factor in this game moving forward.
Yeah, just, you know, at some point the Aphelios does have to buy that. You have to think one of the easiest ways to get it across, especially with that ultimate, which can be so AoE. But I also want to point out just the kind of the discipline and the smart thinking there by Coin Flippers. They won that fight, and they, within the space of 15 seconds, got the Dragon, the mid tower, and the Herald. You know, they sent the jungler up to get the Herald, they soloed out the Dragon with just a couple of members, and they killed the mid tower while killing Squib. So very nice macro play there by Coin Flippers, getting all those objectives in one fell swoop.
Yep, absolutely. So they got the 2 dragons, 2 TDMAs, 1, and as I was saying before the fight broke out, the most important Ocean Dragons are the first one, and then the last one. The first one, mostly because that regen buff it gives you is more important earlier in the game, right? Regen kind of falls off later, but Charismatic is in trouble in the top lane.
Yeah, he's in trouble, but he could be here a while. Like we said, there's no healing reduction. You know, he's going down a little bit faster than I might have thought, but not going to be able to get the auto tag in for some healing. He does go down, but that's 3 members expanded up in the top lane, and they're not even still pushing. They're kind of thinking about it. Blue suede shoes are on. There's the stolen Moonlight Vigil in the mid lane. Was just that, just a bit of Moonlight, and that's now behind a cloud. That did not work out there for Yoshi Miner, but a good effort in the mid. As I tell a lie, they did push in the top. Tower did go down. Herald spawn in the bot, and we see a teleport coming through. Some interesting macro plays. Recycle Bins in the bot lane with that Herald. And the Hecarim's now in the mid, maybe trying to go for a kill here on to the bot lane. Jay the Deep's going very low. Nice. Zanya there trying to keep himself alive. Onslaught of Shadows comes through. Yoshi Miner is now unstoppable, but the kill was traded back onto Zero Arm. JT going to go pretty low here. And the ace in the hole coming through for a nice kill for Recycle Bin. That is the blue buff going over to him as well. So nice kill there by the AD carry of Coin Flippers. Did rotate up after killing that bot tower.
Yeah, and you can see the overall gold lead between these two teams is pretty close, but where it isn't close at all, Carl, is in the mid lane, where Yoshimine... Oh, here we go. There's a
Speaking
fight.
of the mid lane, we're going to have another fight in that mid lane. The shutdown does go over 600 gold. Temper's Fate comes through for a bit of invulnerability for everybody. Yoshimine trying to get to the portal. He's going to be able to get himself out as Vis going to be taken out by that Maokai who has teleported in. Yoshimine looking to get back into this fight. Look at that healing coming through. Watch for that in these fights. No grievous wounds still. There's a nice stopwatch to buy a bit more time for himself. Should have that heal back available. There it is. Back to half HP. Charismatic now running for his life. The portal out by Cabby as well. And the 3 for 3 is kind of called off here as the teams step away after trading 1 for 1.
Yeah, and I think TDMA might have got off lucky there. I think the coin flippers had a lot more by the way of resources, especially in the health department. It might have been greedy, but I'm surprised Yoshimine didn't dive on that one. I mean, there was a lot of mana from Charismatic and Cabby as well. I think they probably could have gone for the dive, but it would have been pretty greedy, right, Carl? And I mean, this is the finals, so playing safe probably a better idea, but we're just kind of seeing this Yoshimine early game versus Moyo late game start to come through, and it's difficult to say that Moyo had like a bad early game because he's Rise, right? I mean, you wouldn't expect him to do too well. Scoreline on the Rise 2-3-1. He's not particularly far back in CS, not in so much as a Rise could like make up that 20 CS discrepancy in like a minute or two, right? He's Rise. And as we push forward in the late game, I'm starting to wonder if maybe, despite how far ahead Yoshimine is right now, is it going to be enough? I mean, Rise is just going to keep hard scaling, and they do have a lot of room to push in these side lanes too, especially in the bottom lane. So I really feel like Moyo could still come back from this and hard carry their team. Kind of the same story for JT, right? Also a little bit behind right now, but not shut out of the game, right? So I'm wondering if their late game win condition is still viable here for TDMA.
I think more the case for JT than for Moyo. I think Moyo's just a little bit farther behind and maybe a little bit less hard carry potential. I think Aphelios with the ultimate just offers a lot more as he is able to, you know, find a couple two-man picks, and also just the Chakram come through, can get through Charismatic in, you know, just a couple of seconds. I think we've seen the montage plays of that coming through, but I think definitely both of them, if they're able to get you know, enough items, if this game goes late enough, they should be able to carry their team. Now, you know, this Dragon coming up, if that goes over to coin flippers, I think it's in a lot more jeopardy. And I think it's more about how many items they get to versus, you know, caring how far or behind they are their counterpart. Exactly. So, you know, even if Yoshimine is at 6 items, if Moyo can get to 4 items, he might be able to do something. For now, I think Yoshimine is just too far ahead, but we'll definitely see as it goes forward.
Yeah, definitely. And now where Moyo didn't do well at all, really, in this early game is in the gold department. He's 2,000 gold behind Yoshimine right now. So, like, that's huge, right? I mean, that's so big.
A lot of gold.
Dark Seal, yeah, fully stacked Dark Seal for the Silas as well, and they're going to be picking up their 3rd dragon here, their 2nd Ocean Dragon as well. It's a lot of regen for a team that is full of healing already. So this is going to be a team that's hard to kind of outlast, right? I mean, we could talk about the healing in combat and stuff like that, but if it's just a case of back and forth, coin flippers win every time.
Might see a fight. Zero Arm did go forward. There's the hijack on the Moonlight Vigil, going to go a little bit short. Tell a lie, actually, that was the real Moonlight Vigil. Still went a little bit short, though. That part hasn't changed whatsoever, and the flash was expended by JT. So a nice Dragon and a nice flash forced out with just the ultimates from the top and jungle.
Yeah, that's always a funny thing to see from a Silas player, right? Like, well, I missed my ultimate, but to be fair, I didn't sign up to use this ultimate. I mean, it's just what I was given. So if he doesn't know the exact range of Moonlight Vigil there, you know, I don't blame him, but he does miss that one. We do have the pause coming through. We'll try and figure out what the deal with all that is here as soon as possible. It seems like we've had like a peripheral malfunction from TDMA's side, so hopefully we can get back here in just a little bit, but until then we can keep analyzing this game here. A couple spikes coming through here. Moyo really has their core build already. He sacrificed that tier 2 boot, which is very important for Rise, of course, being able to split push and also just kind of run down anyone who kind of tries to stop him on the split push as well. So while he does have those core items, that Ceres Embrace and the Rod of Ages, those boots, just that alone is going to make it hard for him to split push.
Yep, for sure. I also want to draw our attention to the Executioner's Callings. that have been picked up, by the jungler and AD carry. JT and Bisk have both picked those up. We've been calling for them all game, and they finally arrived. I do like to see both of them. It's a little bit hard for just one of them to do it. It's only 3 seconds that it does last for, I do believe. I guess I can check on that. We got nothing else to do. It is 3 seconds, in fact, on that debuff. So that's very important to get across the team. Moonlight Vigil even more important if it's able to land that AoE. Because it will be able to apply that debuff on all of the champions who we've already touched on. They all can heal, so that's very important to see here. Trinity Force completed for both of these junglers, and JT, just checking his gold here, a little bit of a ways off of that. Rune's Hurricane is the standard second item. He's going to be pretty weak until he has that completed, maybe even an Essence Reaver after that. We'll see what he does decide to go for build-wise here for himself. But this 80 carry, not quite as strong as his counterpart. Recycle Bin, very, very strong just on those 2 items.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a big component of this game, just as far as the kind of the matchup between the champions is the healing. We've talked about that a lot, right? But we also kind of touched on the split pushing as well. Rise monster split push champion. And I think there's split push potential on the side of coin flippers as well. And what's very kind of notable about the healing reduction they've had come through is that it's on their ADC and on their jungler. Pretty much the 2 champions you don't want to send to stop a split pusher, right? I mean, you don't want to lose your AD carry if you have to roll onto an epic, roll onto an objective, You also don't want to have your jungler in a side lane, bot lane, for instance, when you're looking for a Baron. You want to send solo laners that have the teleport, right? Oh, Jay, the Deeps maybe flexing on the coin flippers, something like that. Get baited, sure. Does land the Dark Binding on a charismatic for his trouble there. That was interesting. But yeah, you want to send your solo laners that have teleport, and neither of their solo laners have healing reductions. So it's still going to be difficult for those players in the side lanes to be able to fight pretty much anyone on the coin flippers at this point. They all have pretty considerable healing.
Absolutely, something to watch out for. We'll see how it works out in the 5v5 team fights. I think in the 5v5, if they do get one of those fights, maybe around an objective, this should be sufficient for the healing reduction. But in the side lane, like you said, could be a problem, especially if you're up against like Charismatic. Even if he's just trying to buy time, right? He can buy a lot more time if he's able to get those heals off at full strength, especially with the Spirit Visage coming through for him. So something to watch out for if that does become a factor. Could make the difference between getting that recall in 5 seconds earlier versus 10 seconds earlier. So we'll watch out for that as we move forward here. The Rune's Hurricane has been completed by JT, and double upgraded item now for Squib. So he's doing very well for himself in this game. A lot of the item spikes have come through now for TDMA, so this might be the time for them to fight. Recycle Bin going pretty low as well. Tempered Fate coming out. Recycle Bin able to get himself out to safety. Double knockoff, but it looks like coin flippers will be able to disengage from this fight, and the AD carry just kind of heals off immediately, grabs a few spires from Bard, and he's just fine.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're right when you mentioned that now is the time to fight for TDMA. Now is pretty much the threshold where they can get in a fight, get ace, get a reset in, and go to Dragon. That Dragon's coming up in less than 2 minutes now. And before too long, they're going to have to start thinking about setting up for the Dragon. If they want to get a fight in, they have to do it now.
Yeah, for sure. It does have to be taken sooner rather than later. And they do see the 2 members of the bot lane. Actually, I tell a lie. The AD carry and top laner, Charismatic and Recycle Bin, up in the top lane. So a little bit of a split here on the coin flipper side. This might be the time to look for something. If you are TDMA, although those engage ultimates are not available at the moment. They might be trying to even just dive this tower. They might be going into this tower. Call of the Forge God has been hijacked and taken out. Cabby going very low to the tower, flashes himself out. He might be still alive on this one, throws himself a heal to keep himself safe as they continue the fight. Biss going to be going down. He's going to be soon followed by JT. Has been caught out in this fight. A nice knockup coming through, but Yoshiminer is just ripping through this team, picking up the 1 kill onto Jay of the Deeps as well as the fight continues at 5 versus 2 at this point. Cabby now has rejoined his team. Squib going to get slowed down by the Storm Reaper. He is going to be soon to follow, and it is an ace coming through. A dive gone wrong by TDMA as they are wiped off the map as the coin flippers move toward the Baron.
Yeah, coin flippers will be looking for Baron here. I don't think they have enough time to take both the Baron and the Dragon, though. So while the coin flippers will have Baron, they will be able to pressure TDMA's structures. I don't think they'll be able to roll onto the Dragon. I'm pretty sure TDMA is going to come up in time to be able to contest that one. Now, they might have a little bit of a positioning advantage. I think they might be able to make it to the Dragon before TDMA does.
I think they'll be there in time.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they make it. Actually, Zero Arm didn't back after that Baron.
Not recalling. Maybe thought he was. Not sure what's going on there, but they should be there in time, the coin flippers.
Yeah, for sure. So some weird timing there from Zero Arm. Kind of walked around for a couple seconds and then back anyway. That was interesting.
Who
but,
knows?
Yeah, maybe looking at objective timers, but that dragon has just spawned. This is Soul for the coin flippers, right? So it doesn't seem like TDMA is all that interested in
They're not
in
even
either.
really there. Jay the Deep's taking on a half HP, and that is meaningful at this point. As you see the fight, maybe continuing on the other side, teleports being forced out of Moyo, and this is just not an even numbered fight as they're going to continue to go in here. The Onslaught of Shadows was kind of canceled out by the Tempered Fate. A little bit unfortunate. JT able to get himself out, but Bisk is going to find just the release of death as he is out of this one. Moyo going to be taken down as well. Moonlight Vigil not going to get a whole lot done here. We flip down to the bot lane, and Yoshimine just kind of ripping through Squib, and overall, not a good fight again for TDMA. Losing 3 members, they're going to lose this Soul as well, X-Men.
Yeah, for sure. And we're kind of seeing here what I was talking about is that the solo laners don't have healing reduction, so Squib literally cannot fight Yoshiminer. Like, there's, like, not at all. Yoshiminer
Now we
isn't
really
even
can't
taking
fight him.
damage. Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah, Squib goes down there to ace in the hole. Unfortunate for that one, but...
Oh, JT,
now...
run! You better run, buddy, and he does get himself out, but... Yeah, healing reduction not there. Squib just ran for his life. He ran for 25 seconds and then got shot with a big pistol or a big gun at the end. Sniper rifle coming through from Recycle Bin, and the Soul's been gotten. Dragon, or the Baron buff is still on these creeps. This might look to be a game-ending push, actually. This is a 5 versus 4, but I don't think they're afraid of really any fight now. Coin flippers, they're onto the first Nexus Tower. That is going very low. Steps on a trap. This going pretty low as well. The net not quite going to land. Might have been 90 caliber, but it wasn't quite far enough for him as another wave of minions is walking into the base now. The second Nexus Tower is under fire. When do you take a fight? JT gonna get engaged on, has a black shot on his back to stay alive, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Tempered Fate comes through. They can just focus the Nexus coin flippers, and the Onslaught of Shadows coming through. They would rather take this fight than just end the game. Why not? Let's just take this fight. They are gonna continue this. The healing is just insane coming through. The Nexus goes down, and the coin flippers take the first game over TDMA in this best of 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And healing was really the name of the game in that matchup. And it's kind of strange I didn't pick up on that from the get-go, right? I mean, it's so obvious to me now between Silas, Maokai, and the Bard that the healing was going to be huge in this game. But the Ocean Soul on top of all that, there was so much healing coming through. So it was almost... really, I feel like you need Grievous Wounds on all 5 members at that point. Maybe not all 5, but definitely at least on your solo laners. Because, I mean, Carl, the solo lanes is where most of the healing was, right? So it seems weird to me that they didn't rush Grievous Wounds in either of those lanes. Maybe there was a little bit of overconfidence coming through from Squib in the top lane. They had a really good start to that top lane, right? But, yeah, kind of misplayed a little bit there from TDMA.
Yeah, it just didn't quite work out kind of like they were hoping, and really that consistent healing was on those 2 solo laners, the Charismatic and Yoshiminer. You know, Recycle Bin heals just kind of constantly. That's not something you need to worry about so much. Cabby, those are more out-of-combat healing, right? The Spires that you kind of grab once you're out of combat and go try to heal up a little bit. Zero Arm just has a bit, but yeah, it is those solo laners that just weren't really itemized against, and it's hard, right? If you are, you know, Moyo or Squib, where do you fit it in? You know, Executioner's Calling doesn't really make a lot of sense. Are you really going to go for a Morellonomicon on Moyo? It's a really expensive item. Obviously, Squib's not going to be buying that, so kind of hard to see where that was going to fit in for those builds, but maybe something to consider, you know, even in Champ Select, or just kind of how you were going to kind of run your team, right? Like, what kind of team do you want to do? Do you want to just be forcing 5v5s? We saw him kind of try to do that. It just didn't really work. There was somebody out of position in that last fight. Jay of the Deeps wasn't there. You know, there's just something gone wrong every time they were trying to engage.
Absolutely, and that is going to be the end of game 1 in our best of 5. Going over to the coin flippers here to start us out in the series, but we are going to be moving here into game 2 in just a little bit. But before that, we are going to take a little break. We won't be back in too much time. It won't be long before we're back. Don't change the channel. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Style Esports fans, to game number 2 here in the Style Esports Season 2 Grand Finals. We are in the midst of a best of 5 between Team Dark Matter Academy and the Coin Flippers. That first game did go over to the Coin Flippers. They now hold a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. I am Jarl Carl, alongside Axeman87. How you doing? Looking forward to this game?
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm especially looking forward to the jungle role here. I feel like it was it was really impactful. I think jungle always is, but in a lot of ways, it kind of took the backseat to a lot of positions, especially like solo lanes, and definitely the bot lane as well, where we saw so much action down there. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for the picks this time. We saw so many jungle bans coming through in the last draft. Notably, the Olaf ban came through. I'm wondering if Coin Flippers are going to keep that one up here, if they're going to keep banning Olaf. I think they probably should, right? But it didn't. I guess putting Bisq on Xinjiao really didn't shut down Bisq as much as they would have hoped. I think Bisq wasn't as impactful as he would normally be on Olaf, but I'm not really sure if getting Bisq on a champion that maybe they're not as solid on was really what they were looking for. I feel like the Coin Flippers could maybe adjust their draft a little bit. That said, it was a super good draft, right? And I almost I missed it as soon as they had drafted. It took me a while to pick up on what they had done, and really what TDMA had done is kind of pick this late game comp that was super solid in the late game and definitely dominant in the meta right now, but was super locked into like a certain itemization, right? There's only so many items you can build on Ornn that are super effective, because you want to build those Ornn items. You also want to make sure you're getting Rod of Ages and Sarah's Embrace on Bryce as well, because they're just so important to scaling into the late game. So you can't really build healing reduction, right? It's difficult to do so. So they picking up the Silas pick and also the Maokai as well was just so smart in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely pretty smart drafting coming through, and kind of hard to stop, like you just said, but Charismatic might get his Shen. Of course, that could be in the bot lane, but that remains unbanned in this game. The Silas was banned out as a bit of an adaptation. Also, the Vyar ban, don't remember seeing that in the last game, but maybe I'm just slowly becoming senile. So we might see that as well. But the Shen's come through, something to watch out for, that clear global. One of the purest globals coming through, and I'm being told that it was banned last game, so fact check true on that one. I am becoming senile, so watch out for that coming back later in the broadcast. But the Caitlyn Morgana could be picked up here for JTJ. The Deeps, really strong lane, one of the best I would feel in League of Legends, pretty much, for a long time now. Just the binding into trap combo is way too strong, so great to see that picked up, but they had to give up over the Shen on the other side.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll be interested to see what they pick up here. I mean, they had a good draft last game, but obviously switching up a little bit here with the Shen. I'm not sure they can go exactly the same comp that they had last game, obviously, but they might switch up a little bit here. Yeah, Nocturne coming through instead of Hecarim here, so definitely switching up a lot. What I'm starting to see already, Carl, is that they have a large global presence, right? Shen with the global ultimate, Stand United for sure, and also Nocturne having a very long range ultimate indeed. That while it isn't perfectly global, if you don't have tracking on the Nocturne, it might as well be, right? I mean, you have to pretend it's global because he could be within range. So yeah, there's just so much map pressure already coming through, and they're just through the first pick phase.
Yeah, I could not agree with that anymore. That Shen Nocturne combo is very, very strong. Putting the Sand United on the back of Nocturne when he does turn out the lights can just be so scary, right? Like, if you're the Caitlyn and you think the Nocturne's coming, to appear right in your face, and suddenly there's a Shen there as well to taunt you up, that can just be so terrifying and just really effective, right? Morgana can't really stop the Nocturne just hitting you. Right, I mean, she might stop crowd control, but if you're surviving to the point where you're getting feared after Nocturne ults you, you're doing well already. Right, so, and with Shen there, maybe you block the taunt, but Caitlyn's, just a sitting duck, essentially, if Nocturne gets on top of her. So, something to watch out for. The Malzahar pick coming through, even into the Morgana. Interesting little adaptation here. That Black Shield does block the ultimate, so we'll see if that interaction ever really comes through. Kind of hard to time since there is no channel time on in that Malzahar ultimate, but an interesting thing to watch nonetheless. Caitlyn, once again this game, going to be the target of quite a lot of dive, just as we saw in the last game.
So I think we both agreed, Carl, that after game one, Gabby didn't have the best performance on Bard, but it is going to be banned away here from TDMA. They did not like that Bard, I guess. So that is going to be banned out. We'll see what they come up with. Maybe even flexing Shen down into the support role might be an option here for the coin flippers, but they are continuing to pick, and it's going to be the Ezreal ban as well. Now, Yumi was already banned by the coin flippers, so I would have been surprised if they picked up Ezreal, but Ezreal's super strong even without Yumi, so maybe a good ban there. To be honest, I'm not really sure what they answer with. I don't think you take Aphelios again in this round here. Actually, it was them that took Caitlyn, I think, last game.
Yep,
so
we switched.
Yeah, so they won't have Caitlyn either. They have to pick a whole new bot lane.
I think the Aphelios is still strong here. The Pantheon makes it maybe a little bit less. So I think the Ezreal ban was a good one because it's one of those, few AD carries that has a true escape, right? And it is able to get away from a lot of stuff, especially even if he gets hit by the bind, you can still buffer it away if you do it at the right time. So I like the Braum pick coming through. I think that indicates also they're maybe a little bit concerned about what AD carry to pick, as Recycle Bin could have just picked his own AD carry, and then Cabby picked the Braum. So definitely some indecision here, I think, coming through from coin flippers, or maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but we'll see what they go with. Nothing's really jumping to mind as an obvious pick here. I think the Aphelios isn't bad. Even an MF might not be bad if you want to just have a team fight comp. Ashe, not awful either. There is that MF going to get locked in. I think at some point you just kind of accept that you're going to have an immobile AD carry, and you just try to go for as much damage output as you can while standing still, and Misfortune's pretty much that answer.
Yeah, exactly. And mobile AD carries with Ezreal banned are few and far between. I think it's just pretty much Lucian. I'm not really sure you would call Lucian mobile AD carry. I mean, probably more mobile than some others, but they ease on a long cooldown, right? So yeah, it is going to be Misfortune. With Strut, has some mobility, right? I mean, especially out of combat mobility
sure.
is going to help a lot, but I don't really think there are all that many marksmen who are particularly mobile. So yeah, without Ezreal anyway. But so this is to be honest, a solid bot lane. I'm not sure we've seen Recycle Bin or Cabby on these champions, but just based on like meta alone, this is pretty good. I mean, MF Braum, solid team fight for sure. Now I'm a little hesitant to kind of say that coin flippers are going to have a strong team fight. They'll obviously have bullet time, which is a strong tool, but the rest of their team seems to kind of be lacking. It's almost like a pick comp or like a rotation, like a macro comp type deal with kind of this like team fight kicker, which is definitely interesting, but we'll see how it plays out for them here. On the flip side, TDMA have a great team fight comp. I mean, between Lissandra and Ornn alone, that's very solid, but throwing in Morgana and Caitlyn as well, and then it gets really scary there in the team fights.
I think both these team fights are quite scary. I think it's a little bit less obvious for the coin flippers what they do if, for example, the bullet time just misses or doesn't kill a lot of people. Malzahar can only kind of hit one target. But I think the team fight's still scary, right? You can turn out the lights with Nocturne. You have Shen to come in and save anybody, or even get on Nocturne's back like we talked about. Braum causes disruption. There's a lot of crowd control. There's a lot of disruption. You can cause a lot of confusion, I think, with this coin flippers team. I don't think they have as easy of a team fight as TDMA does, which is kind of like Moyo goes in, kills somebody, Pantheon one-shot somebody, Caitlyn stands there and auto-attacks, and Morgana keeps people safe, while Ornn just kind of chills and soaks damage. So I think it's a little bit less obvious what they want to do, but I think we could see some very explosive team fights in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think critically as well is that, the difference between this game and game one is going to be that those team fights are going to happen a little bit earlier. I think we kind of saw some slow starts, especially from the solo lanes from TDMA, where their team fight just kind of wasn't there until later into the game, where Rise and Ornn kind of started to show signs of life there. We won't really have to wait as long, right? I mean, Pantheon's going to be online fairly early in the game. Lissandra as well is going to be useful earlier in the game too. So, we're going to see more of an early game focus here, especially on the flip side of the coin flippers having Misfortune Nocturne, right? That's those are some powerful early game tools as well.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about the bot lane matchup a little bit. Both of these lanes are very, very able to kill the other one. If Cabby's able to land a nice stun onto either Caitlyn or the Morgana, depending on where the Black Shield goes, maybe you can switch targets. They certainly have enough damage to pick up a kill. Now, at the same time, the Morgana Caitlyn does, you land a binding on Misfortune. Maybe Cabby's not there to set up the shield in front of her. She can kind of just get one shot by Caitlyn, which is the main attraction, of the Caitlyn Morgana lane. So I think either of these lanes could get a kill on the other, and I think they'll be looking to. These aren't really lanes that want to just sit and farm. They definitely want to be getting some kills.
Yeah, definitely. You want to get those advantages earlier for sure. Now, I don't want to say game one was necessarily not bloody or a slow game, because there was a lot of action in that game. But I think this one might be even quicker, maybe even more action. But
Yeah.
at least in this game, I feel like both teams are on even footing as far as objectives go. I feel like Nocturne and Pantheon are going to be able to duke it out over these dragons, where before it was a little bit one-sided, especially just in terms of getting those dragons after a while. You know, the zero arm just kind of started running away with the game there a little bit on the Heck Room. So hopefully this will be a little closer, and we are getting to the end of spectator delay here, and we'll get onto that loading screen for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I just don't really see how these teams cannot fight, right? Like, you're talking about how you think this will be a faster game, a lot more fighting. I just don't know how you don't fight if you're these teams. You're looking at these teams that all of these champions want to just be killing other ones, with the possible exception of Ornn. Basically, like, Morgana wants to be getting fixed, Caitlyn wants to be a bully, Lissandra wants to one-shot people, Pantheon wants to catch people out, Malzahar's ulting people, Miss Fortune just blasts people everywhere she goes, Braum has the stun, Zero Armed has the, you know, turn out the lights, Paranoia coming through. So these are teams that just want to go head-to-head. There's a lot of globals. I think we could see some 4-man bots, even some 5-man bots, right? We have Zero Armed and Charismatic can respond to the bot lane. Yoshi Mine are walking down. Moyo has the claw and the teleport. We have 4 teleports in this game once again, which is remarkably exciting. We should see those coming through. The ultimate on Bisq can get him down to the bot lane. This could just be fights breaking out for basically no reason in kind of just random places.
Yeah, definitely. And we are loading onto Summoner's Rift here, so we'll get started in just a little bit. Another quick load there, just a few seconds, which is definitely surprising. But just looking at keystones here, nothing too far out of the ordinary. Excuse me. I don't think I'd normally see Nocturnes take lethal tempo, but I might be wrong about that.
I think that is standard because
bad,
you get the fear off and then you just auto a lot.
Yeah, so maybe that one's
nice
just fine. But
bush stack here. We are saying the Guardian repeated again on Morgana, so maybe we're just crazy, and that is what people take on Morgana. It just didn't look right to me, but it seemed to work out. So who knows? Maybe I'm just crazy. We have the same keystone over for Cavi on the Braum. So a lot of Guardians coming through in this game, hoping to keep their AD carries alive here as two teams are staring at each other, but they don't know it. And might see a late invade here. Might just see it all kind of peter out. Nice binding. Zero Arm's going to get kind of annoyed there, but should be fine. So no lasting harm on that. 15 gold, I would reckon, going over, and it did. So huge gold lead so far for TDMA.
Yeah, they got a little bit through there, but a slow start level 1, especially compared to game 1 where we saw Cavi pick up first blood fairly easily there in the mid lane. But yeah, both teams kind of learning their lesson about level 1 shenanigans, and they're going to take this one nice and slow. But yeah, both junglers are starting the same side, which leads me to believe they're going to meet at Scuttle up in the topside river at some point, so we'll be looking out for that one. But this should be a pretty explosive bot lane, especially compared to the Aphelios Caitlyn matchup in game 1 here. We have the MF, which is a powerful early game marksman, so maybe we'll see Recycle Bin come in aggro here, Carl.
Yeah, we could see that come through. These are the lanes that I just think they have to fight. I mean, the watch for the level 2 is really what I would say as that first point of contention. As I say that, they're already, you know, beating up on each other down there. But yeah, I think it's that level 2 power spike to watch out for. Either of these lanes could take a lot of advantage off that. Something to watch out for. So far, this should be hit pretty easily by the TDMA bot lane, JT and Jay the Deeps. Just off of this one creep. We'll see if they look to go in just one more in return, and they decide not to try to push their advantage. Although they might walk up here. Everybody's level 2. It looks like we're not going to see a whole lot come out of that one. As top lane, that Shen Q does a lot of damage.
Yeah, it certainly did, and Squid doesn't have enough gold to be able to build an item advantage yet, so it is pretty even with Charismatic here, just as of right now. But yeah, we'll keep track of that lane as it seems to kind of disengage for the time being. Mid lane, not too much at all going on. Neither champion has even landed an ability on the other, so Alan's going to be slow as well. Both teams kind of realizing that maybe their competition wouldn't be the easy series they thought it might be, and done testing the waters here and now taking it real slow in game 2.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple of couple of minutes here of a little bit of peace. That mid lane, yeah, that's a lane that relies on their ultimates, right? So they're kind of just be hanging out for now. And the junglers have kind of found each other now, or at least they should in a couple of seconds. Not sure what vision they have exactly, but it's a lane you can't really be going into if you're not sure where the jungler is. If you're taking that claw in on Lissandra, you better know you're not going to get ganked, because immediately you have no escape left. Malzahar has no escape at all, so just you don't really want to take any risks here in the mid lane. They're just going to be farming up. Both of them are happy to wait a little while longer for their big power spikes and just farm it up, grab some items, and then kind of team fight. I think is what they'll be more happy to go for. So no real risks need to be taken. The bot lane, great pressure by JT and Jay the Deeps. They're playing that lane very well so far. It's exactly how you want to play a Caitlyn lane. Shove it in, get the traps into the turret, and just cause some problems for your opposition there. So far I think the lane's going pretty as expected. A little bit less fighting than I would have thought in the bot lane, but again, like you said, both these teams just maybe taking it a little bit slower.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see here if we can have a little fight between the junglers. Looks like no, they're just going to keep farming here now. I'm not sure if it's bugged on the stream. It is bugged in my spectator, but I can't see the timers for the jungle camps, so I'm not really sure which ones are up or not up, but it looks like Biss wasn't able to contest that topside scuttle crab. Perhaps getting a couple more camps out of it, but now that I look at it, Zero Arm does have a little bit of a lead there, so maybe some inefficient pathing from Bisk or something like that.
Never will know. Have to watch the replay for that, but you might not have jungle timers, but we are crossing the 4:45 mark here, just about to the dragon coming up in just a couple of seconds as we see a bit of fighting in the bot lane. Cabby going very low. The heal comes down. Jay the Deeps pops the Tormented Soil. He should live, though. Cabby should be able to get himself out. Bisk has arrived as well. Zero Arm coming forward. Spell Shield on that one. Jay the Deeps going to flash out with the bit of fear, helping him on his way. Recycle Bin going very low. He's going to be taken out. Squib has arrived on the scene as well. Here is that 4-man bot lane. We talked about Squib picking up that kill onto Zero Arm, and it is 2 for 0 here. Summoners were used, but to good effect. 2 kills going over in the bot lane for TDMA.
Yeah, for sure. So TDMA taking that gold lead already, 1.2k on the 5-minute mark here. Jay the Deeps, JT looking to get some turret plating, but they have almost no mana between the two of them. And maybe greeting for a second plate here. They should be able to get that with no problem.
Yep.
Recycle Bin is back just now. But meanwhile, up in the top lane, Charismatic in a similar situation. He's looking for more turret plating as well. But he needs to back off too. So across the map, both teams kind of trading a little bit of plating there, kind of going with the theme of the game so far. TDMA gets some more, so their gold lead is going to expand here to 1.3k. So looking pretty solid here at 6 minutes. Looking solid indeed. No mana in the mid lane either. So both those mid laners should be looking for resets here in the near future.
Surprised not to see the dragon be taken there. Off of those 2 kills, you did kill the bot lane and the jungler, and just no dragon started up. So a little bit surprised to see that not being taken by Bisk. You know, they had time to get 2 plates. I think that does mean you have time for that dragon as well, but that's a choice that they did make, as we see Bisk kind of wandering into the mid lane. No mana on Yoshi Miner, so could find himself in trouble. Speaking of being in trouble, I give you Squib, everybody. He's going to get taunted up here by the Shen. Zero Armed in this one as well. Uses the flash to get out, gets away from that fear, and he's able to get himself to safety. But that summoner is down.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something we didn't mention there in the early game, is just how powerful Yoshi Miner's Malzahar is in the early game. This is a huge factor, especially coming into playing into things like ganks and also early skirmishes. You know, it's definitely necessary to pay that QSS tax, especially if you're JT on Caitlyn or even Moya. Really, you don't really want to be standing there for the length of Malzahar ult, so we'll see if they pick those up. But Dark Binding goes wide again. Jay the Deeps not landing too many of those so far in this bot lane.
Pretty hard to land on the Misfortune. You know, when she is out of combat like that, she is just kind of strutting around. It's pretty hard to hit her, so I don't think too much hate over to Jay the Deeps. But here comes that Grand Starfall. Binding is going to land this time onto Cabby. They're going in on Recycle Bin. There is the Stand United as well. Teleport coming down. Will the Shen arrive? Yes, he will. Recycle Bin staying alive just enough time. This going to be falling as well. Yoshi Miner is here. Nether Grasp is available. When will he use it? There it goes down onto Moya. Will he be able to get his ultimate off? No, he will not. Charismatic picking up that kill, and Jay the Deeps is just going to be the sacrificial lamb here as JT going to get himself out. But it doesn't make a whole lot of difference in the end. 3 for 0 in that fight. A great response by Coin Flippers in that bot lane play.
Yeah, Coin Flippers flipping the fight back on the TDMA. That's Very well played indeed, burning both teleports, I believe. Charismatic using their teleport to get back in the lane. Joining that fight was Stand United, actually, but Yoshimine using their teleport to join the fight. Also getting the teleport out of Moyo there, who they then killed in the fight as well. Now it's going to be the coin flippers looking for the first dragon of the game, and this should be relatively uncontested, I'd have to imagine, Carl. I don't think TDMA have any way to get into the dragon pit in the next little bit here, but it's looking like Bisq is working pretty hard to trade back his Rift Herald, and I don't think anyone should be stopping him. So it's going to be Dragon traded for Rift Herald here.
Should be able to pick that up. We see a dive in the top lane. Squib just kills Charismatic and walks off to live to tell the tale. Jay the Deep's a little bit behind here. Will the binding get down in time? This is a very interesting fight in the bot lane. Trap goes down. No Piltover Peacemaker rolling through for JT. Maybe it wasn't up. Oh, Squib! In the top lane. Not sure if we caught that on stream. I just happened to be up there, but he almost died to that tower. That would have been pretty embarrassing for him, but we see a little bit more of an engage here. Recycle been going forward. Nice shield put up by Cabby. There's the ultimate coming through onto JT. Gonna get hit up. Is the bullet time coming through? Yes, it is, but the ignite's down. Recycle been just gonna get taken out. Paranoia comes through. The lights have been turned out. Oh, what a great net! And a nice dodge by JT as well. He's able to get himself to safety. A nice stopwatch. Might buy a little bit of time there for Jay the D's. Not able to get himself out, but JT picking up the kill and lives to tell the tale.
Yeah, very well played by the Caitlyn on that one. It is going to be Bisq dropping that Rift Herald up in the top lane, I guess behind the turret somehow. Not really sure how that happened, but the Herald does get the charge off there, of course, before 14 minutes. So getting a lot of gold coming through there for Bisq. But down the bot lane, Zero Armed is also taking place too. We'll see. The gold lead here is about 700 gold in favor of Bisq at the moment. So very strong Pantheon down there, and yeah, looking pretty good. I would expect Pantheon to take this matchup earlier in the game, so I think this is probably about where we should be just in terms of the matchup. But yeah, definitely good on Bisq to execute the champion well. He's now just counter jungling Zero Armed, who really doesn't have any way to answer.
Yeah, for sure. Zero Armed getting harassed down in the battle lane by Jay the Deeps. Like to see that. Always stop his recalls. Is one of the most frustrating things in League of Legends, at least to my mind, is having your back stopped repeatedly. It's like, let me just go home. Let me get out of here. I don't even want to fight you anymore. Please let me leave. But he's going to be able to get out and try to go step up and help his jungle out. But Moyo going to get engaged on in the mid lane and stand and fight. Not sure why he didn't back himself out, but Moyo just kind of dies in the mid lane to Yoshimine.
Yeah, Moyo kind of just face tanking all of that damage, right? Obviously getting suppressed by Yoshimine there with the ultimate, but yeah, doesn't even make an attempt to escape. They died with flash up. You also mentioned the E ability from Lysandre the Nim, which escapes me, but yeah, not making out of that fight at all. Up in the top lane, big trades coming through, but Bisq is here to help out.
In the bot lane, also a bit of trading coming down. JT, a lot of headshots rolling through, not able to get through the shield, but Charismatic's now going for a journey. See if he's able to get out. Bisq is now arriving. Call the Forge comes through. Charismatic gonna get knocked up. Bisq on the chase. This could be quite the lengthy chase. Moyo's arrived though. That ultimate is available. Will he use that frozen tomb? There it is. Might even follow it up with the Claw of Doom. Charismatic still walking himself out. There is that Claw of Doom. And Charismatic gonna be fallen by the wayside. Moyo picking up that kill in the bot lane. Lights have been turned out right after JT picks up the kill onto Cabby. Just a little bit unfortunate that he was able to get that off for the coin flippers, but Zero Arm now on the chase, and in the end, we do see a bit of a trade, JT for Cabby.
Yep, Zero Armed burning their ultimate, of course. Also Flash as well to try and pick up the kill onto Jay the Deeps. Doesn't quite get that, so the Flash doesn't get them too much. But yeah, they get the kill into JT like you mentioned. So some of that, more of that map pressure coming through from the Nocturne too, right? That ultimate Stand United, and speaking of map pressure, is up as well now. As we do have, I believe, the dragon respawning. I don't have objective timers. I think it's coming up soon.
Don't have the icon on it yet, so a little bit more than a minute on that one, but yeah, pretty soon that will be back up. And we saw that first tower of the game going over in favor of Squib. Not a completely solo tower, as that Herald did come through to take, you know, the second or the third and fourth plate off of that one. Last one just taken off now there with the end of the tower. So, but a nice lead for Squib anyway. Has that Sunfire Cape completed for himself, and once again just has that Cape completed, just willing to chill and do what he can to keep his team buffed up there as we move on toward the late game, but just going to be a little while before he's able to upgrade those items, and not a huge threat in these fights just yet on that Ornn. The top lane is the bot lane. Nice little trap line set up there by JT. Can he get the headshot onto Cabby? Yes, he can, but the shield does come up to block that headshot.
Yep, and we're under a minute now till the next dragon. My instincts were close, not right on the money, but pretty close. So we're gonna see that come up here in just a little bit. It will be infernal if the camera hasn't picked up that symbol on the dragon hit yet. So we're gonna see an infernal dragon come up here in just a little bit. To be honest, I'm not really sure what the last dragon was. I'm not sure
Mountain.
there's a way to check. So yeah, mountain. So we're looking at either Ocean Soul again here in game 2 or a Cloud Soul this time.
Could be fun. A little more trading in the battle lane. The teams have kind of arrived. Charismatic can stay in the top lane, but Nethergas coming through. Moyo has used his Frozen Tomb this time to keep himself alive, able to get that Claw of Doom out. Will he be followed by the Paranoia? I know it. He should be okay for now, but the lights have been turned out. Zero, I'm going to go in very far. 1 versus 4. No ultimate on his back. Standing did come through. Will he get there in time? Yes, he will. Charismatic going to get a nice taunt. JT with a nice flash out of this one as well, but this fight going very well for the coin flippers. You have to think, at least from the start, yes, it does continue that way. Squib going very low. Will he be able to get the flash over the wall? The Q. Oh, what a great Q as well from Cabby, throwing that one through the Claw of Doom to get Moyo out of that one. Charismatic and Recycle Bin to charge. Forward, they're going to have to fall off and get the dragon for themselves. I said it was a great fight for coin flippers. In the end, it's 3 for 3, but they do get the dragon.
Yeah, so you would assume they get the dragon here, right? I mean, it's going to be difficult for TDMA to contest this one, but yeah, TDMA, I agree. It seemed like coin flippers were going to win that fight, and even
teleport,
towards the
actually.
end. Well, here we
Hate
go.
to cut you off there, Axeman. We thought we might see a Grand Starfall come in on that one. Recycle Bin, you got a long way to run, buddy. Squib coming in through that. Will he get the flash over the wall? Recycle Bin, what a great flash. Actually, very well executed by him. Jay the Deep's on the chase. Moby Boots are on, but everybody gets out, and they get the dragon.
Got away safely, just like those heist movies, right? They make it look easy, but definitely was not to get out of that word.
And Starfall, we're going to see a tower dive here. Teleport coming through as well. Both were expended in that last fight. This is going to be a 5 versus 3 tower dive. Once Charismatic does arrive, there he is with a nice W to keep his team alive for just a little bit longer. Bis taking the tower that has been dropped over to Jay of the Deeps. He's going to be falling straight away. Charismatic diving away from those auto attacks. Zero Arm now trying to get back under his tower. Not going to be able to get far enough. He's taken out with a nice headshot right to the cranium. Charismatic going to find the ace in the hole. Recycle Bin has arrived as well. Charismatic trying to keep himself alive with a bit of healing from the grasp with a nice taunt forward onto Moyo. What a great play from Charismatic as he picks up the kill. Bisk going to be trading back on the other side. And in the end, this tower dive ends into 4 for 4. As Bisk and Charismatic are just kind of chilling here. Who wants to fight who? No mana on Bisk. Charismatic might look for the chase here. Sweeper goes out over the wall. Looks like he's going to be okay. Oh, he doesn't have taunt, though. The mana has come back. Spirit's Refuge.
Oh!
Not enough, and the shutdown goes over in favor of Bisk.
Yeah, Bisk just one-taps Charismatic there casually. He's looking for this red. This might be a little greedy, though. It's just Cabby, so yeah, he is going to get that red and get out of there. But Bisk trying to take the coin flippers for all they're worth on that one. And yeah, after all that, the gold lead still trending violently towards TDMA, but both teams looking fairly solid right now.
Yeah, for sure. That was, a very wild series of play. Both teleports used by TDMA to try to get the coin flippers off the dragon. Weren't able to do so. Then we saw that tower dive that ended in a 5 for 4. So these fights are definitely very close. Some of the towers and other objectives going in favor of TDMA. Mostly just the towers and the plates, giving them this gold lead so far. A couple of kill advantage as well, as they actually look toward the Herald now, their first major objective of the game. But, just nice fighting overall, but in the end, just very, very close. A lot of this coming down just to execution within the fight itself and kind of where these ultimates are placed. So these two teams definitely still very, very close in this game. 2,500 gold lead. If it doesn't stretch anymore, it's definitely still a close game.
Yeah, absolutely. And this can really help them kind of widen the gap, this Rift Herald, and get them even more gold. That really is going to be how TDMA wins this game, I think, is just by extracting more value from the map. Oh, here we go. Squib might be in trouble in the top lane.
Lights have been turned out, as we see here. Squib trying to just trade back onto Zero Arm, actually gets him pretty low, but not enough. Ooh, interesting flash from Zero Arm. Has expended that summoner spell, but they do pick up the kill onto Squib and the end of the day. So a nice gank, although Bisk has arrived on the scene. Looks like he's going to be okay. Not going to go for anything too wild on this one. Has double buffs, though, and his ultimate almost available, so might try to throw a spear and kind of rain on Zero Arm's parade here, but don't think any kills will be coming through from that situation.
Yeah, the Bisk Charismatic 1v1. We're looking for that run back, right? Charismatic is out for blood, but Bisk disengaging from that one, and now it's JT and Jay of the Deeps. The bot lane from TDMA looking for this mid lane tower. They got the work cut out for them as Yoshi Miner and Cabby are looking to defend. There's also a lot of health on that tower too, right? So maybe just looking to farm up more than anything else. But There is no objective on the map right now, I believe, as far as epic monsters go. I'm not really sure the exact timers. We mentioned that a couple times now, but so yeah, both teams just kind of content to stick in the lanes and farm up.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit of a farming phase here. There's been so much fighting in this game, right? Almost 2 kills a minute. And right as I say that, Recycle Bin has a visitor in the bot lane. Biz going to be just diving this tower. A nice stopwatch, actually, from Recycle Bin to try to buy a little bit of time. Cabby going to be falling, though, here in the end. Biz can he get himself out? Sandy United has come through. We're just going to see another fight on this one. But Squib not able to join. This is a 4 versus 3. The bullet time comes through. Moyo going to be going very low. He is going to fall now. JT able to get a black shot on his back to try to keep himself alive from that paranoia as well. Going to be following through from that nether grasp, I should say. Yoshiman are using that. And the ultimates come down. No teleport on Squib means his team loses the fight. 4 for 1 in favor of the coin flippers.
Yeah, and these fights have been looking so even, and the goal lead has been in favor of TDMA by like 3K for the last, I don't know, 6 minutes or so, something like that. It's kind of wild to see the coin flippers win a fight like this, but you know, I've been saying so far they look strong, so I'm wondering if it's just been a couple things preventing them from winning thus far. And yeah, they kind of proved me right on that one. They win this fight dramatically here. Squib looking to run away from Gabby and Charismatic, but is going to be able to get out of that situation here. We do have that dragon coming up now. It is going to be an ocean dragon, so another ocean soul here on Summoner's Rift. That's pretty unlucky here if you're TDMA.
Do you want to point out key ultimates not available for these teams? That fight we just saw a couple of minutes ago has expended those ultimates. They are not available right now, so those will not be up. For coin flipper side especially, no bullet time, no nether grasp. They do have the paranoia to turn out the lights if they want to go for the steal. Moyo has to get himself out. There's the call of the Forge God. Going to be coming through, but Zero Arms in base, actually. Not sure what happened there. Didn't catch that as that dragon does go over in favor of TDMA. Just not really contested there by coin flippers. They kind of just watched it go.
Yeah, and I really like what TDMA did there to kind of focus that dragon and make sure they had control of the area. It really was the case where coin flippers had to get a reset in and weren't able to get control of the dragon pit. So TDMA did very well to kind of move in, make sure they had the dragon control. And critically, they've set back that Ocean Soul. If indeed coin flippers are going to pick that up, they've set it back 5 minutes, right? That's more time for their team comp to scale. More time for the coin flippers to make mistakes as well, but also just time for Squib to get some Orin items onto his team too. So doing very well to kind of draw this game out a little bit.
Might see a fight here in the top lane. Interesting Herald summons. Not sure if they want to push the wave or kill Charismatic here. Charismatic just kind of walks himself out. And the Herald's now trundling down the top lane, but no minions available. They might just try to get the charge off here. The charge has come up, and the lights have been turned out. Paranoia coming down. Biss going very low. He's just taken out straight away. A flash over the wall from Squib to get himself out, and the Herald kills the tower, but Biss just goes down.
Yeah, not sure if it's super worth. I mean, they're getting a little value, a little bit more map control out of destroying that structure, but we'll see if it was worth having your jungler dead. I believe the Baron should be up right now. Yeah, it is. So having
up, they're just doing it.
Yeah, having Biss down for this fight, it looks like TDMA are going to try and trade back.
They burn it pretty quickly. Actually, sorry to just talk right over you there. The Malefic Vision's coming through with a lot of damage. Actually, Call of the Forge guy comes through. We'll see if they can just burn this down before the jungler. Bisk is not here. There's no jungler available. Zero Arm should be able to just pick this up. He does pick it up.
Oh,
Baron does go over. How is this fight going to continue? The fear goes down onto the Orange. Squib going to be falling. A great bullet time across. JT forced to flash out immediately. Grand Starfall has arrived in this fight as well. A double kill now for the Nocturne. The slash forward from Bisk. Recycle Bin now maybe not long for this world. Can he get away from this Pantheon? The Recycle Bin going to be finding himself in that own Recycle Bin. He'll be coming back to life in just a couple of seconds. Lights have been turned out once again. There's the ultimate going forward. A double kill now for Zero Armed. In the end, the Baron picked up in an ace found by coin flippers.
Yeah, so very well played there. And yeah, I think that kind of seals the deal on the Rift Herald being worth. Probably not would be the answer now in this case. It'll be coin flippers running it down mid. They got the Baron empowered minions. And also with the Nocturne top kicker, he'll be picking up some structures as well, taking down those turrets pretty fast on the Nocturne. So yeah, this is real rough for TDMA. That gold lead going, by the way, now in the favor of the coin flippers, over 3K now. So quite the 10 minutes the coin flippers have had in this last little while, but they might overstay their welcome, at least in the mid lane.
Teleport coming in behind. The Braum has arrived as well. Moyo is now into this fray. Squib getting burned down. Those Malefic Visions doing a lot of work so far. Can the carries get themselves to safety? Moyo just burst out immediately. Cabby ending up picking up that kill, but the silence keeping him from using that ultimate throughout that fight. Cabby goes down. There's another grass coming through. Down onto, can't quite tell who that is. That is Squib. He's going to find himself in the Death Chamber now. Black Shield not enough to keep himself alive. In the top lane as well, the pushing coming on that tower, and just the best of both worlds for coin flippers. That engaged by TDMA just not quite working out for him.
Yeah, and Zero Arm looked like he might have been looking in for some kind of support play. Didn't have the ultimate up, of course, though, so eventually just decides it might be the better play to stay top, and now he's killed Biss! That ultimate is back up!
Charismatic, following him over the wall, not entirely sure he's too excited about that decision at this point. He might be able to get himself out, though, actually, as Yoshi Miner is here as well. Ace in the hole comes through. Recycle being going to block that up. Very nice, helping out his mid laner there. Does have that red buff to heal himself up, so he should be just fine if he does want to stay. Looks like they are going to abandon the chase for now. That dragon up in under a minute's time, so you do want to get back and get some purchases in before that objective does come up. Both junglers off the map for now.
Yeah, and that's just a massive Baron power play right now. As it stands, I believe the power play is something like a 4 or 5k gold difference at this point. So they picked up like 4 turrets, got maybe 2 kills, I think. I believe something like that. So doing very, very well. Got that next dragon coming up. This shouldn't be sold for anyone, I don't think.
Nope.
It'll be 3 for
2 to
coin
1.
flippers, and 2 for TDMA if they pick it up. So we'll see. It looks like the coin flippers are going to have control of the area, but it is TDMA. They're also on that side of the map, so they could be looking for the contest here. It is Charismatic looking for this bot lane. They do still have that Baron power play up, still got the Baron buff, but Squib is trying to stop him here.
Cabby gets jumped on, expends the Glacial Fissure to try to buy a bit of time. There's the bullet time coming through. A little bit of damage, actually a lot of damage traded onto JT, although he'll be able to heal himself up. So that ultimate not available for this fight. I would say the coin flippers do not really want to take a fight here per se. They more want to just probably take the dragon and get themselves out. Although Zero Arm has to go into the stopwatch to buy a little bit of time now. See how the dragon does go down. Biss gonna get just fought here. Red team has picked up the dragon. That goes over to TDMA. They're second of the game. The lights have been turned out. There's another kill going on over this fight, going exactly as coin flippers did want it. Stand United to try to keep themselves alive, and they do manage to do so. 4 for 0 so far. Zero Arm flashing forward. Cabby's arrived on the scene as well. JT, can he keep himself safe? JT actually with a nice play, able to get a kill back there on Cabby. Yoshi Miner tanking up that tower maybe a little bit too long. He's going to have to back himself off as well. But still, in the end, 4 for 1 in that fight. Yoshi Miner still trying to die to the tower, but coin flippers pushing down the mid.
Yeah, and you know, I give it up to Bisk for trying to delay that Ocean Soul win condition, right? But it's almost not worth it. I mean, if you die enough and you're kind of feeding the enemy team enough that the more traditional win conditions come back into play, not worth, right? I mean, the enemy team at this point is so much further ahead than you are that Ocean Soul would really not even be necessary for them. I hate to keep harping on the dragon or the gold lead like this, but 7k now. It's huge.
Zero Arm trying to keep himself alive. Biss just stabs him in the face with that spear. Yoshi Miner able to trade a little bit of damage back, but not able to keep his teammate alive. That teleport from Squib coming through. We talked about the teleports at the start of this game. There's a lot of them, and they're being used liberally by these teams to try to pick up some kills. Jay of the Deeps, quite a deep warding mission there, but he's able to get himself out, kills that ward, and backs off. So have a little bit of a reset in this game. I don't expect it to last for too long, as we have seen throughout this game. These teams do love to fight, but a little bit of a break here for the coin flippers. They are without their jungler, so expect them to just kind of back off, maybe reset up for this Baron, which is up in just under a minute's time.
Yeah, for sure. And champions like Bisk on Pantheon, Jay the Deeps on Morgana as well are going to start to fall off here as we get later into the game. So plays where Bisk kind of just answer objectives, you know, not terrible, right? Especially that last one for the Ocean Dragon. I don't think that was super bad, but the rest of his teammates dying was real rough, right? Especially Squib, who's kind of one of your late game champions that you want to keep alive in these fights, but
Cabby.
Boy, Cabby again.
He just took a lot of auto attacks coming through Recycle Bin. This is a great bullet time if he's able to set it up. There's his Pantheon shield in his face, so a nice Zanya to try to keep Jay the Deeps alive. Suns could be coming through for this one, but Recycle Bin is just free hitting in the backline. What a great flash he did have to get himself to safety. A nice knockout by Squib, actually. JT, wow, picking up the kill on Recycle Bin, trying to turn this fight around for his team. Has a lot of items so far, but Zero Arm just ripping through his team. Standing United on his back as Yoshi Miner onto JT as well. There is a nice Q by Cabby to pick up the kill, and at the same time, Charismatic has arrived in the fight on the back of that Nocturne. And Teleport going into the base as well. Squib, what can he do to defend? It doesn't look like a whole lot. Another 4-for-1 fight. Recycle Bin had to pay his life in the end, but it looks like it did win the game for his team. That first Nexus Tower going down, the second one sure to follow very shortly here. Squib not able to defend, just recalling in the jungle. He's been exiled off of Summoner's Rift at this point. The Nexus under fire, the Nexus going down, and Coin Flippers take it 2-0 in this best of 5.
Yeah, you hate to see it getting completely zoned out of your own base there. Feels bad if you're Squib, but yeah, Coin Flippers just being so dominant, especially in the second half of this game, really showing that they were the better team, at least here in game 2. But they got another one to win it. They got to take the series to best of 5, so we'll see if they can 3 and out TDM here in just a little bit. What do you think of that one, Carl? That was pretty rough.
I think another really nice game by the Coin Flippers. And what's striking me about them so far in the series is just their clean macro play. They've had a lot of really clean, takes of objectives on not that much time to do it, right? In the first game, we saw them kind of triple objective off the one fight win. In this game, to me, it's that Baron that sticks out, right? They knew Bisq was dead. They said it's a 5v4. We can win this fight. And they just committed to it, right? That's something we see a lot in the professional leagues is kind of, a one-kill advantage being turned into a Baron. They were not unwilling to go for it. They said, we have enough zone potential. You can't fight us. And as we saw, they took the Baron, and TDMA could not fight them. They got killed, they got aced, and from there the game was essentially just over. They did lose the dragon, but they won that fight as well, and were able to win the game from them.
Yeah, interesting statistic for you here. Charismatic on Shen, doing second most damage on his team, with Yoshi Miner only beating the top laner out by less than 500 damage there. So that was a massive Shen in that game. You mentioned early in the game that Shen Q was doing a lot of damage. I'll say, Carl, he almost did the most damage on his team. That's nuts.
Yeah, very, very strong champion. I think we can see why it was on the chopping block for that first game. Did get banned. I would expect to see it banned out again in this game. In game 3, I should say. I don't really know why you would let him have that champion. Had a lot of impact, both in his lane and on the rest of the map. In lane, around the map, always keeping his teammates alive, being that last extra member there to secure them fight wins, and just really, really impactful.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, we are going to be moving to a little bit of a break here before game 3, which could very well be the last game of this series, as it's 2 games for Coin Flippers, none for TDMA. Don't change the channel. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Style Esports fans, to the Style Esports Season 2 Grand Finals. It is 2-0 in the favor of Coin Flippers up against TDMA, Team Dark Matter Academy. So this is the third game. Could be the final game if Coin Flippers are able to close out the series here. Bringing you the action once again, I am Jarl Carl alongside Axeman87. What are you thinking, Axe? Is this the last game, or are we going to one more?
Yeah, I hope we're going to one more, but for me, TDMA's got to change up some very key things, right? And I think it all starts with Bisq. So much of the success we've seen from TDMA has been through that jungle position, right? We've seen JT and Jay, the Deeps, have good games. We've seen some signs of life from Squib and Moyo as well, but so many of their best performances come through from Bisq, right? So I need to see Bisq get on a champion that... and I don't want to say Bisq has been uncomfortable looking on Xinjiao or Pantheon, but somehow he's got to have a good performance, right? He's got to either lock it down, maybe just draft around the jungle position, something like that. But I really feel like that's TDMA's path to victory at this point.
Yeah, you have to think so, and that Olaf has been taken away from him. One of his best picks here in Style Esports. We also see the Shen banned out. It makes sense, of course. Popping off Charismatic was in that last game on that champion. So that's been taken out. Pretty standard bans in this game. The Vigar ban, not in this one. We'll see if that does come through, but we'll see what the first pick is here for TDMA. Back on the blue side, see what they have up their sleeve in this draft. It might be that Vigar. It is now locked in. You'll assume that goes over to Moyo, but I've seen some Vigar support someday in my life, so could be that, but I would expect it to be in the mid. A little bit of a change up there. A lot of crowd control for him.
Yeah, definitely in the group of champions, I would still consider to be a flex pick. Maybe one of the less popular ones at this point, but definitely still in that box for sure. That said, I think we're probably going to see the Vigar coming through for Moyo, but you know, always optional to flex that around. First pick coming through, Morgana for the Coin Flippers. Had a pretty good series with Morgana so far. Able to kind of outmaneuver the Morgana in game one, but also having a good game on it here in game two as well. But Callista coming through as well, so an interesting lane for sure. A little more difficult to execute maybe than the lanes we've seen from them so far.
I think still at the same time, very, very strong. Callista, Style Esports fans may be aware at this point, at least some of you, one of my favorite champions in the bot lane. So I am a big fan of this champion. I think she's very, very strong if you play her right. We'll see if that does happen. She's definitely very hard to play, and we'll see kind of what kind of a build, what kind of runes Recycle Bin does go for. We have seen, there's a kind of a battle between the Lethal Tempo crowd and the Halo Blades crowd. For Callista, both do have merit. We'll see which one comes through, but if the bindings land in this lane, these can be pretty much insta kills as long as they're not against some super tank. So I would like to see something like a Nautilus, like a Braum, Leona coming through to kind of try to shut this Callista down. I know they don't do super well into the Morgana, and immediately there's a Soraka picked up, so maybe throwing my calculus way off, although that could still be in the top lane. Unlikely, actually, with the Mordekaiser, so I would expect that to be support. I'm just going senile again, as we already established in that second game, but the Soraka, to me, is just a little bit weak in this lane. If she gets hit by a binding, I don't really see how Callista doesn't just kill her off immediately.
Yeah, I would love to see every champion that TDMA's picked so far just get flexed somewhere weird. Excuse me, I think that'd be so funny. But they're kind of set in their roles at this point. But we'll see who they get across as far as bans go. It's going to be Ezreal coming through from the Coin Flippers, taking away a very, very strong marksman right now. But it already taken away Yuumi as well. So not a team that likes playing against Ezreal Yuumi, that's for sure. Let's see who TDMA bans.
Yeah, the Kassadin coming through, I think, is an interesting pick here. Giving a little bit of late game to kind of contrast with that Callista. Early game, Callista not a great late game carry. So I think this does make sense to have a little bit of late game security there in Yoshi Miner, although at the same time, they won't really ever synergize. They're never really that strong at the same time. So we'll see how that works out for him. Kassadin pretty good against Vigar, though. Has that magic damage shield from his Q and can kind of just get out of the ultimate with the Rift Walk. So that's definitely a good counter. I like these AD carry bans coming through. By the Coin Flippers taking away the Ezreal, which is one of Callista's worst matchups. Excuse me there, my throat just decided it didn't want to work anymore. And the Aphelios, which was very important in those first couple of games. We saw kind of flexed around, picked around in the first game. We actually saw it in the game. Just taken away, putting JT on something a little bit more uncomfortable. The misfortune here is not that great, so we'll see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, absolutely. And We did see the Nocturne ban come through from TDMA. I'm not 100% on that one. I think a lot of the strength from the Nocturne pick in Game 2 was just kind of pairing up with the Shen and applying more global pressure, right? I'm not really sure if Zero Arm's performance on Nocturne was like ban-worthy, but they are going to take away the Nocturne here. Hovering Darius here, yeah, going to pick up Darius for Charismatic, so that's a hot button champion there, Carl. Maybe a little bit weaker than he has been in previous patches this season, but definitely one of those champions that can run away with the game if you're not careful. Has a lot of 1v5 potential, right?
Yeah, I do like to say he's one of those champions that kind of, he doesn't go even in lane. He either wins lane or he loses lane. And, especially against the Money Catcher, like, he's going to get ample fights. And so we'll see if he's able to pick up those kills on Squib. And if he gets ahead, it's pretty much curtains, I think, for this team. They have no real tank to oppose him. Not a ton of crowd control. He's just going to rip through this team if he is able to get ahead. So something to watch out for. I think a great pick in this game. So far, Xin Shao might come through, definitely can fight Darius, but Darius it's really hard to kill him. And if you get 1v2'd by the Darius, it's even worse, right? So he kind of keeps ganks away just by that fact. Like, oh, what if he 1v2s? It's just over. So I think we might see that kind of pressure exerted as well. Xin Shao back again for Bisq. Didn't look great, as we've said in the first game. Maybe he's, picked up some lessons on that, a little bit more warmed up going into the second game on it, I should say, in game number 3, of course, in the series. But he will be on that again. And the jungler, Hovering Kha'Zix, I'd be surprised to see that come through. It does come through. No real tank here for the Clan Flippers.
Yeah, no real tank, no real front line. You have the Darius on Juggernaut, which is, in a way front line, but a lot of that depends on the performance in the laning phase. If Darius doesn't win this lane, yeah, there's no front line. I mean, there's nothing coming through, right? Even if he wins, he has to win it pretty hard to be any kind of reasonable or meaningful front line. Otherwise, he's just kind of a glorified bruiser who's going to be maybe one-shotting more than one member of the enemy team. But yeah, you're right. Not a whole lot of beef coming through. Kind of makes me wonder what the Morgana pick is all about. I mean, obviously there's a lot of big potential there. It's probably going to go fairly well against the Soraka too, but remember they hadn't seen the Soraka when they picked up Morgana. They first picked that champion, so we'll see how this bot lane goes for them. Moyo and JT haven't swapped yet, so we might see a Veigar bot lane and Varus mid, but we'll see how that goes for them, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's deliberate. I'm not sure. We'll probably get word before the spectator delay is out if that is not deliberate, and we can get out of here and remake the game. But I would assume that this is deliberate. This is, of course, the finals. Don't question what you see here. I don't know about this Varus mid. I feel like it's just going to kind of get one shot by the Kha'Zix if he ever comes to town. Varus, no escape, especially before 6. Pretty much a sitting duck, and he will do well against Kassadin, right? Kassadin is that anti-mage, so it'll do well in that regard. The poke Varus could be very strong in this game, so that could definitely be what they're going for. I think just maybe a little questionable, and I'm just a little confused as to the pick, but I think it definitely does have merit.
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of safety, I mean, if you go the poke build, and I have to think you would going in the mid lane, you also have a lot of range that you can play around with and make sure you're playing from a safe distance, really, and that's going to kind of negate a lot of the kill potential and the gank potential that Kha'Zix is going to bring to the table, right? So another lane that Kha'Zix is going to have trouble ganking here, which kind of brings us to an interesting position that it's going to be difficult for Kha'Zix to gank most of these lanes, right? I mean, depending on how it's going, for Mordekaiser up in the top lane, Mord's just a hard champion to gank, right? Either you or your top laner get ulted, and now it's a 1v1 scenario, and that's rough. Down the bot lane, he's contending with Veigar. And while Soraka is a good target for getting one shot, Veigar is pretty difficult with the cage, right?
Yeah, you do have one black shield, but you kind of want to be putting that on Recycle Bin, right on the Callista. He wants to be jumping through that cage to kind of get to JT. So we'll see how that kind of goes. I think the top lane might be the place to focus, at least pre-6, if he's trying to get a kill, or just kind of try to farm up and get to that late game point where Kha'Zix can kind of just one-shot people and maybe look for assassinations onto Moyo or JT. I think Jay of the Deeps will do reasonably well in shutting that down, however, so I think that Kha'Zix, like you said, might just be a little bit out of options here. I think it's mid or top if you're trying to do early ganks, especially Moyo. If you can burn his flash, maybe do a repeat gank, he probably will be going down at least before he has the Chain of Corruption. Varus is pretty weak early. He doesn't have a ton of damage, and he just has 0 escape.
Yeah, for sure. And we are starting to get to the end of the spectator delay here. Just 3 minutes, of course, just 30 seconds now. So we'll get into the loading screen in just a little bit here. But yeah, I mentioned that TDMA's path to victory here was through the jungle. They had to blind pick Xinjiao again. So not a champion Biz is like by any means bad on or anything like that. Just kind of more like suboptimal. You want to give him the Olaf, but I think the Kazakhs might be a better matchup for him, right? Obviously, Kazakhs has a little bit of an advantage in isolated scenarios, but in the early game, I think it still swings back towards Xinjiao. So this could be good for TDMA.
We'll definitely see. I think the Kazakhs pick, at least to me, requires a little bit of explanation as well. I think, what's really wrong? What's wrong with the Hecarim coming through again? It did get banned, actually. Tell a lie. Immediately as the thing falls away, I forget everything that I just saw. The Hecarim was banned out, but you just want to engage from the jungle here, and I don't think the Kazakhs really provides that. There's just no engage in this team. What do you do if you want to fight? Like, you throw the Morgana in? That doesn't seem like a great idea. So we'll see if they're able to get the engage coming through. The bans had come out, so the Hecarim and Nocturne were banned out. What do you pick? What's available? I mean, you even have like a Sejuani, a Zac available. Both of those could lay down a lot of pain onto this Varus mid, which they knew was there. I mean, maybe they didn't know it was mid, but you still have a Varus, you still have a Veigar. These are not very, mobile champions. I think one of those tank junglers might have just done a lot better for him.
Absolutely, and I have to agree. Pretty much any jungle pick to me needs to be explained why you didn't just pick a tank jungler. Here at this point in season 10 especially. I mean, tank junglers are just so strong right now. You kind of have to have a good reason to not pick one, and I'm not really sure. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm just not really sure the reason was there to pick Kazakhs, but they're going to have a little bit easier time engaging depending on who the Black Spear goes on to. Normally goes on the support here. And yeah, it looks like they're going to be dropping that onto Kayabi. So dropping a Morgana on the enemy team, not 100%. That's great. But like you said, there's not a whole lot of front line, right? So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just throwing in Cabby, or you just wait for a bind to land, right? Or just try to play around objectives where you force the other team to come to you. Could be very strong. We'll see what they decide to go for, but our end of the game, bit of a line of scrimmage here. I would expect TDMA to play a little bit safer in this game, as they are kind of backs against the wall, right? 2-0 down in this series, so kind of time to play a little bit safer, go back to basics, and just try to not be too wild. You don't want to be throwing that series away here, but everyone kind of chilling. Nice early ward put on by Xin Shao. Goes back for that sweeper, so he'll have that up and available to sweep at his jungle, maybe go for an early dragon.
Yeah, definitely. And to your point, I think you're right. TDMA wants to play this a little bit slower, but it's kind of back and forth with different members of their team. I suggested earlier that TDMA's path to victory is through the jungle. So in that vein, we're kind of seeing like an aggressive jungle pick with the Xinjiao, trying to get into the enemy jungle, trying to get those fights, those 1v1s out early. Rest of the team, very much passive. Veigar looking to scale and just kind of sustain with Soraka. Varus just looking to poke early, and Mordekaiser maybe looking to fight occasionally, but nothing too extended with the Darius, right? So again, maybe looking for more of a passive lane. So across the map, everybody looking fairly passive, but not Biz, right? It all depends on what Biz can make happen here in the early game, which is a rough spot for TDMA to beat, but I'm not really sure there's a better option for them. I mean, I feel like at this point, Bisq is just your win condition.
Might also see a level 2 in the bot lane. That level 2 will be hit by Recycle Bin and Caddy. Level 2 Callista can lay down a ton of pain with that Halo Blades. You see the respect being given. Jay of the Deeps might be in bind range. Recycle Bin, you can tell he wants it, but no fight going to be found immediately. I would have liked to see them playing a little bit more up on that. You know the jungler started bot side. I think you want to just fight for that. That's a really strong point in the game for this Callista. They decided not to do it. And, it's going to become harder and harder to find openings to get a kill in this lane because, the Veigar is going to scale up and so will those heals from Soraka. But we move up into the top lane. Charismatic might have to flash away. There is that flash. Just going to get that out and everybody else backs away. But flash blown by that Darius, the coin flipper stop.
Yep, so technical success there, blowing the flash, but Jay of the Deep's taking a lot of damage. You weren't kidding, Carl. That level 2 hits different for sure, but I actually do have objective timers this game. Charismatic getting super low here, healing a little
Red
bit
buff on him,
there.
a flash forward from Bisq, flash from Squib as well. Charismatic pulls him in. Can he get the spin? No, he can't. First blood going over to Bisq. You talked about wanting him to succeed in this game. He is starting to do so. First blood going over to him, and teleport probably has to be expended here by Charismatic.
Yep, and you are correct about that one. But yeah, Biss taking a strong first step forward into this game 3 here. Looking solid to be able to pick up this game so far, as is the rest of his team. 600 gold lead for the Team Dark Knight Academy so far. Dark bind on Jay of the Deeps.
Oh, the Black Shield, though, a little bit too late. Recyclebin not able to walk forward and press his advantage. I think that could have been a flash or even a kill there if Recyclebin had that shield on him when he walked into that. That's why the Ignite went down, I'm sure, by Cabby, thinking that they could push that engagement a little bit further, but was not to be. Recyclebin going to get stunned up a little bit and has to back himself off.
Yeah, and I don't blame Cabby either. I really thought Jay of the Deeps was going down there, and Zero Armed is now in the area. They picked up that Scuttle Crab in the bot side river. They're looking to get a little bit of counter jungling coming through, trying to take these Raptors here. Maybe we'll see.
Charismatic, though, getting jumped on the top lane. He's going to be okay, but a little bit more pressure exerted. This could be a nice binding from Cabby. Is it available? I guess not. That looked like a perfect bind angle, except there was no bind. So backing himself off, but a lot of pressure exerted in this bot lane already, and I like to see this from the Coin Flippers bot lane. This is what you need to be doing on Kalista. If you get behind on Kalista, it is curtains. That champion is so bad. If you get behind, you need to be on or ahead of the curve if possible, and doing pretty well for himself. Recyclebin farming up very well so far. Jay of the Deep's under a lot of pressure. Oh, an interesting flash from Recyclebin. Zero Armed is here, flash for the tower. Jay of the Deep trying to get himself out. Zero Armed going to get stunned up under this tower. He's just going to be going down, and overall, quite a botched play in the bot lane by the Coin Flippers.
Carl, I don't know how Jay of the Deeps is alive right now, but it's a huge misplay there from the Coin Flippers. Maybe the dive at all, but definitely the specifics of the dive as well. Now Disc is looking for the double kill here. I'm not sure he can get that one. Oh, wow. Yeah, Moyo picking off Yoshiminer with the solo kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, great play actually there by Moyo. I did catch that. Was not.
Oh, Charismatic might go down here.
Top lane. Does he have the Q? Yes, he does. What an outplay! Charismatic 97, picking up that kill, trading back onto Squib. Nice kill in the top lane. But talking about that mid lane, which I did happen to see, Moyo just level 5 versus level 5, autos him a couple times, gets that hail of arrows, that E coming out, and then the empowered Q walks out of the minion wave and just spears Yoshiminer from across the wave with that empowered Q, doing extra execute damage, and just took him out straight away. Back in the top lane, Charismatic is just dead as he's taken out. Move back to the bot lane. Bisk going in. Bisk is going to be taken out. Back up to the top lane. We're just going coast to coast here. Zero Arm's going to be taken out. It's a double kill over to Squib and the kill over to Cabby in the bot lane. They're just fighting across the map.
Yeah, Mordekaiser are always a rough gank, but especially right after he's just teleported back in the lane and killed his solo laner, right? That was a rough 1v1 for the Kazakhs, but yeah, just a all-around good play from Squib, and really some crazy misplays from Charismatic and Zero Armed on that one. You definitely want to take the reset after you get a kill like that if you're Darius.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, maybe just a little bit greedy there. Yoshiminer pushed back in the mid lane, has just that tier so far. So he's just kind of chilling, waiting to scale up a little bit. Does not really want to fight. Big wave being pushed in. So this could be the Dragon, actually. Zero Armed has to back himself out of the situation. The Dragon, a lot of pressure. Zero Armed's really weak at this point. Only level 4. I guess not super far behind the curve. Bisk is that level 4 as well. But 0-2, just not scary yet on the Kazakhs, right? You need to wait for those evolves to come through. A couple more levels for him on that. And this could be a Dragon start straight away. It looks like TDMA will start it.
Yeah, for sure. And they're probably going to be able to take this one. I don't really think the Coin Flippers have the map pressure to be able to contest. Zero Arm could look for the steal. Doesn't look like he's going to want that one, though. And yeah, both junglers kind of in this state where at this hurry up and wait stage of the game, where they're kind of looking for either repeat ganks from Bisk or looking for any ganks from Zero Armed, and spending a lot of time kind of hovering around lanes. So that's why we're seeing them so far behind in experience, especially from the solo lanes, who are just absolutely putting in work. I mean, on both sides. And definitely the teleports are playing in as well. If you get killed, obviously it's going to hurt your XP, but if you immediately teleport back into lane, it doesn't hurt it as much, right?
Gank in the bot lane, coming. Cabby walking forward. Black Shield on himself to get himself through. Jay of the Deeps, will he find himself bound up? No flash available, but there's the line coming through. Recyclebin, an early rend once again. Not sure about the timings on that one in this game, but he does get the kill over to his jungler. Zero Armed able to get himself out of that as well. So one kill going over in the favor of Coin Flippers.
Yep, definitely. Up in the top lane, things going a little bit more even. Charismatic is behind, but not by too much now. It's about a 600 gold difference there, so not insurmountable yet. JT's got to be careful on this one, man. That Dark Binding would be real rough if it hit the Vygar now. And yeah, he's got to be careful with that one. Bisk playing very aggressively now. I'm not sure if he has tracking on Zero Armed, but he definitely has some kind of ESP going on or something. Charismatic looking for the kill. It's going to be a Blast Cone back over the Rift Herald there. And Bisk gets away safely.
Getting himself out to safety. I thought we might see an engagement by Recycle Bin right after that cleanse was blown. Fate's Call was available for him. Did not throw the support in, but could have been a good play on that one. They knew that Bisk was in the top lane, but decided not to go for that. I also want to point out the Executioner's Calling built straight away by Recycle Bin, and while I like the item against that Soraka, of course, almost a necessity. He did delay his boots, which is the #1 item on Kalista that you do need. Her jump distance scales with boot tier, and so she's very immobile if she does not have those upgraded boots. And Berserker's Greaves, kind of one of her core items, actually. It's a little bit interesting as we see an engagement here. Just not really able to keep up with the bot lane as much when he's engaging if he does not have those boots available. So look for him to buy those next. Squib going very low. He's going to get taken out with a Noxian Guillotine. Bisk's going to go for it as well, but this looks like he's going straight to his death. We might see another Guillotine. We're going back to the French Revolution on this one. He is just taken out. The Guillotines left, right, and center, and that suddenly is a 1-2 Darius gone 3-2. That's that double kill from a gank I was talking about.
Yep, just like that, the gold is back even up in the top lane. I mentioned he wasn't that far behind. You might have thought I was crazy seeing the 700 behind, but yeah, Darius Charismatic picks up the double kill, and now it's back even. So I was right after all. It was just a little early, but Charismatic's going to be looking for some of these turret plates. Just at 10 minutes now, so we got another 4 minutes of turret plating still up, and Zero Armed is looking for the Rift Herald.
That should be taken here. You'd have to think, not really any way to contest that. Yoshimine are still just kind of like hanging out in the mid lane. That Umbral Glaive has been completed by Moyo, that very cheap first item. Said this might not be contested. It might be contested. I don't know if this is the greatest idea. Squib walking in. You have to think he's trying to go for the Death Realm onto Zero Armed, but I'm not sure it's going to work out for him. Uses it instead onto Charismatic. He gets another heal coming through. That ultimate not available. Actually, Charismatic might be just finding himself taken out here, and he is. The shutdown goes over. Did not expect that to come through. Didn't think Squib had that much power, but this Herald might get taken out. It might get reset. Anything's available on the table right now. It's walking back and around. Who knows what it's going to do? It's going to get taken by TDM's side, so quite a big win for them, getting that shutdown and the Herald.
Absolutely critical to note as well is that when you're a jungler like Zero Armed and you're looking for an epic monster like that, you spend a lot of time hitting it down. If it gets stolen, obviously it's said you don't get the buff. Oh, here we go. Yoshiminer goes down to the dive from Bisk, who will be going down.
Follow the ultimate, not going to work out for him, and Zero Armed going to take out Moyo here. You have to think, yeah, Moyo, no chance to get himself out. A nice flash over the wall by Zero Armed. I thought it might be a little bit overeager. It turned out to be anything but. Getting that double kill for himself. A nice black shield onto Recycle Bin. Can he survive the burst? Yes, he can. Jay the Deep's going very low. The Ren not timed perfectly again, but Cabby able to secure the kill. Pretty unfortunate for the Kalista. It does have those tier 2 boots, by the way, that we talked about a little bit earlier. Here is the Fate's Call going through under the tower. Cabby going to now be tanking it up, and that went wrong in a big way for Cabby there. He's going to be able to walk out, but not the kill they were looking for.
Yeah, it definitely did. It was only a matter of time before Jay the Deeps or JT got nailed by a Dark Binding. They both did there in that fight, so pretty disastrous for them indeed. And I wonder if Bisk and Zero Arm knew they were right next to each other for that play there. Bisk, I'm not sure is on enemy vision yet. He just is now. Just now walks over that ward, so now Cabby and Recycle Bin are on the retreat, trying to get away from the Xinjiao in the mid lane. Looks like Moyo was trying to make a little bit of a roam down the bot lane, but decides instead to stay mid. No big item spikes yet from Yoshiminer. He's got that Seeker's Arm Guard, but that's about it.
Yeah, he is 0-2 so far, but he's not actually that far behind if you really look at it. So we said that about Charismatic, and he got a double kill straight away. So maybe something to watch out for. Another fight in the top lane. Squib just taken out. Noxian Guillotine coming through, and that Black Cleaver does a lot of work for Charismatic. He says, those are my double buffs. Give them back. He is able to get those back. I can't talk. Zero Armed, in the meanwhile, has surgically removed, I think would be a fair assessment, Moyo from the map. That Varus is gone.
Yeah, for sure, and that's the thing that a lot of coin flippers champions have in common is burst damage, right? I mean, almost exclusively from Rend up to Guillotine, there's just so much burst damage coming through, so it's almost like if TDMA can survive the initial hit, they're fine, right? I mean, there's sustained damage.
Teleport. Coming into this one, Squib has teleported in. The red team has taken the dragon. Coin flippers able to pick that one up. Can they get themselves out of this one? Dark Binding and a nice flash away. Recycle Bin gonna flash out as well. Yoshiminer with the Rift Rock to try to keep himself alive. Does he have the flash available? Yes, he does. Has to use that to get out. A lot of flashes used. 3 flashes, actually, I should say, to get out of that dragon pit, but they do pick up the dragon and escape with their lives.
Yep, so they get out of there. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Charismatic is like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Free hits onto that top lane turret. He gets all those plates, Carl. That's a lot of gold going back to the Darius. And really is kind of evolved into, oh, here we go. Squib might be going down. Bit of an overstay. Bisque looking for the dive, maybe?
Recycleman pretty low, able to get himself out just for a couple of seconds, but he is taken out. Yoshimaru has arrived, though. This could be huge for the Kassadin if Bisque gets taken down here. When's the Rift Rock available? Just a couple of seconds. There it comes through. Yoshimaru has picked up that one kill, and Squib sure to follow here. Cabby in the Death Realm, but it's not going to make any difference. Squib, no flash to get out. That's a double kill for the Kassadin, and disaster you have to feel for TDMA, as that's just gone terribly wrong.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Carl, once again, Charismatic is still saying, oh yeah, give me those turrets. He almost takes that second one there, but yeah, full plating from the outer turret is going to give him a gold lead of, my goodness, almost 2K. So doing very, very well. Has about 3K in his pocket right now. So once he gets that reset off, he'll be able to buy a whole.
That's a lot of gold.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe even delaying this reset a little too long here, because actually just stopped his back for some reason. I'm not sure if maybe
doesn't even know he's recalling. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's looking somewhere else on the map.
Oh,
but
bush bait? I don't know. No, who knows what's going on?
I don't know either, Carl.
oh, they're both still there. Are we?
Okay.
Who's gonna do it? Don't blink. Oh, they're going behind. Squib.
Oh yeah.
No. Oh, there's no Death Realm available either. He's all alone. Charismatic walking forward. Squib saying, "What do I do? What do I do?" I know what you do. You feed another kill over to Charismatic, or maybe to Zero Armed actually. Zero Armed picking up that kill, saying, "Hey, no execution. That's my kill." Bug's turn on this one, but that's more gold. That's 3,400 gold in Charismatic's pocket right now, and they just did that. So imagine that +1 item. That's a scary Darius.
Yeah, and I mean, he is scary in terms of XP and things like that, but he's got like 3,400 gold in his pockets. So right now, in terms of the gold he's actually used, it's like 4,000, which is less than everybody on the map right now. So Darius should be the weakest champion by items on the map right now. He isn't the weakest champion, of course. He has more levels than everybody and things like that. But I think Bisque might have been able to take him there. Oh, wow.
In the bot lane, Recycle Bin just didn't save his support. So Cabby got hit by that Chain of Corruption, and Recycle Bin walked off, and I think he just walked out of range before he pulled his support in. Maybe trying to wait until the last second. No real reason to do that, but something that a lot of Callisto players do, myself included, always trying to just, bait for that last second save for the montage. But instead it's going to be on Cabby's death montage, because he's taken out straight away. Recycle Bin might find himself in a decent amount of trouble. He can't really move here. Primordial Burst, not available, but it doesn't matter, as Recycle Bin finds himself following his support, taken out by that one. JT picking up the kill.
Yeah, so very much a bottom side of the map game for TDMA and a top side of the map for the coin flippers here. We'll see how that plays out for both these teams, but Zero Armed is on to Moyo in the mid lane. Oh boy.
Yeah, Moyo taken out. Had to use the flash, but it didn't make a whole lot of difference. As we talked about in Champ Select, once those upgrades come through, the evolutions from Zero Armed, Moyo stands basically no chance against this bug, right? He has no mobility. He has a lot of damage, right? But the bug just kind of jumps on you, and then what do you do if you're Moyo? And so, maybe if you land a great Chain of Corruption, you can one-shot him. But Zero Armed, very, very scary at this point. 6-2. He's not getting taken out anytime soon.
Yeah, and remember, Carl, so much of the strength of the Varus pick and the poke build itself is that you could stay at range. You don't have to leave your turret to be able to do things like farm poke enemy champions. Well, if you're standing in the middle of the lane, none of that helps you, right? I mean, the Cossacks are just going to come get you anyway, and at that point, you're just an immobile marksman. Squib looking for the ult on the Charismatic, but in the bot lane action as well.
A little more fighting comes through. A teleport coming in as well. I think that's Moyo that's going to be arriving, teleporting from the base. He's arrived on this fight. Can he get the Chain of Corruption down? It did go down. Not sure where it landed. Moyo pretty low, actually. The root. There it is, actually, on Recycle Bin. I wondered why he wasn't moving. He'd been hit by that ultimate. Maybe just a bit of a visual bug by me. But he's sticking around for this. Bisque's arrived. Yoshimaru's here as well. We have traded 1-for-1 support for mid laner. In the top lane, looks like Squib has escaped from that Death Realm unharmed. Charismatic wasn't able to take him out. We have a 3v3 in the bot lane now. Dragon up in just a couple of seconds. Teleport up for Charismatic, down for Squib.
Yeah, and up to this point, a lot of the top lane 1v1s have just come down to who has ultimate up. Obviously, recently, Charismatic's pulled ahead. Teleport from Charismatic coming through.
Yeah, Recycle Bin just a little bit too far forward there. Gets a one-shot by Bisque, basically. Teleport not going to get a whole lot done. And just an unfortunate series of play here you have to feel for the side of the coin flippers. Their AD carry taken out for no real benefit to their team. Doesn't look like they're going to even be able to get this dragon. Maybe they will, actually. Might tell a lie here. They start it up. Charismatic could find himself in all sorts of trouble. He also might just kill everybody. We'll find out. Bisk, yep, he's taken out straight away. This has to be the support to follow. Jay the Deep's no way to get himself out. He's taken out. Conqueror's Pride, Charismatic. That is way too strong of a champion to try to fight. A lot of levels on that guy. On this one, the dragon now surely going over in the favor of the coin flippers.
Yeah, they're going to be able to pick this one up fairly simply, and it's going to be the first of the Mountain Dragons. And we mentioned kind of as a criticism of the coin flippers comp that they didn't have really much of a front line. They're probably going to be fine if they get Mountain Drags and Mountain Soul, right? So maybe covering a weakness of their comp a little bit there. Squib trades back Rift Herald. Well done on that one. They'll be able to get a little bit of value out of that. But to be honest, they only have one tower at this point. So my faith in them being able to win through this Rift Herald is waning for sure. Not huge on that one.
Yeah, only one tower. They should be able to get that mid tower as well. Doesn't have too much health on it. A stiff breeze, a little bit more than a stiff breeze, but a stiff herald head in the face of it should take that out, about 900 HP. On that tower remaining, that can be taken down in one pretty solid push by TDMA. So options do remain for them, but they are starting to get dangerously far behind against this comp. Charismatic and Zero Armed are very, very strong. 3 and 2 Cassidy at 20 minutes is very scary for what the Cassidy is going to look like at 30 minutes, right? Once he gets that level 16, he's already level 13, doing really well in the side lane, stacking up that tier. Moyo has to be scared. At some point, Moyo is just going to get one shot by Yoshiminer. He might get one shot by Zero Armed right now, as he has jumped in. There he goes. Dark Harvest coming through. Zero Armed has picked up that kill, and Moyo he just can't be in the side lane anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he can really be apart from his team at this point. And even then, Carl, I'm not really sure what his team is going to do for him. I mean, you got the Soraka, but at this point, I'm not sure Soraka is going to be focused on healing the 2-5 Varus, so that might not even work out for him very well either. Squib getting pulled by Charismatic, apprehended, I should say, but it might be Charismatic going down here. A little bit overextended. There's
a lot of champions here. I don't think Charismatic can fight his way out of this one. Oh, an unfortunate flash. He might actually just walk out. Pulling in JT.
I don't know, Carl.
More. Oh, the wish. What a great wish. Actually going to keep Squib alive on this situation. That could have gone very wrong, actually. If Charismatic picks up that kill and just starts cutting him down. In the end, keep himself alive. Everybody survives. Charismatic goes down. Happy days for TDMA, but that's got to send the heart rate up a few points.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty big shutdown gold going over, too, right? That's how you get back into games. But Zero Armed onto Bisk here. Oh, there he goes.
He picks up one kill and picks up another. That isolation damage is insane.
Oh,
Jay of the Deeps. Jay of the Deeps, you are in the wrong place, my friend, although he's in his own base, so I'm not sure you can really say that to him. Actually, realize the ridiculousness of that statement there, but he's able to get himself out. Has to use the heal, but he does survive. Zero Armed, that's a scary boat.
I mean, in a lot of ways, you're right? I don't think there's anywhere on this map, barring the fountain, that Soraka can safely be alone. I'm pretty sure Zero Arm just 100 to zeros this Soraka in any situation anywhere on the map. So even being in the base, I don't think Jay of the Deeps is safe. The only place Jay of the Deeps is really safe is with their team, is with JT, with Squibs as well, and just in the fountain. So at this point, Zero Armed is looking like a good pick this Kha'Zix so far. Being able to dive that backline has been super impactful this game.
Yeah, I questioned it, and Champs maybe should not have. He's doing really, really well so far. Has the Umbral Glaive to let himself know if he is on a ward. Doing pretty well. Red buff going over in the favor of Recycle Bin. Has not a great scoreline, but he's definitely been doing fine in this game. Hasn't really been, it's not like he's in the bot lane just inting it up over and over again, right? He's had a lot of impact for his team, still has those 5 assists. So he's sticking in there for his team and is able to dish out some damage in these team fights, and especially do objectives as well. Kalista, very good objective taking. So we'll see if that works out. Zero Armed is not in a good place now. Has the invisibility. Can he one-shot somebody? Oh, a nice hop, actually, and he just kind of walks off. Very surprised he didn't get burst out there. Invisibility doing a lot of work for him.
Yeah, and Kha'Zix's very difficult to pick, right? I mean, he has that hop. Oh, here we go. We could
stick going to see some more fighting teleport. Nice Herald spawn just to cause a bit of confusion. Yoshiminer going to get stunned up, but he might be chasing on forward. He's going to get taken out, actually. Primordial Burst coming through, used on him, but Charismatic in the backline has picked up the 1 kill. Can he keep going? On to Bisk, going very low. Can he get the ultimate? No, he can't. The wish has come out to keep his team alive. Jay of the Deeps keeping his team safe on that situation. And in the end, a 2-for-1 for TDMA, although very, very close once again to Charismatic just kind of pop it off.
Yeah, definitely. JT, most gold on their team right now. 8,800 gold. Looking very good on the Vigar. It just seems to me that there are bigger champions on the flip side of the map here with Charismatic at 10,000 gold. 10,100, and then almost 10,000 here on Zero Armed as well, 9,900 on that champion. So some very, very large contenders to match up against. But to be honest, Vigar just outscales them, right? If this game continues to go on, at some point, JT's just going to be the strongest champion on the map.
Teleport has come through. Zero Arm going to find out Squib. Not sure which one of these champions is stronger at this point, although now with Charismatic joining the fray, that's going to... Squib is not long for this world. He's taken out straight away. Zero Armed is now legendary, and the fight might continue. A flash bind Cabby. Looks like it was actually a Q flash. Binding came from behind him. Not sure what happened there, but Zero Armed walking forward. There's the jump forward as well. Biz going to flash his way straight into Charismatic. Not what he was hoping for. Yoshimanor picks up 1 kill. He could go epic on this situation with those Rift Rocks coming forward. Flash forced away, but he has the shield for himself. He's going to keep chasing. There's the double kill. Going on to Jay of the Deeps. This has to be the triple you have to feel. No way to heal himself. There's the triple kill for Yoshimanor, and he's only level 15 at this point. And Coin Flippers come out drastically on top. They might look for the end of the game and the end of the series here as they push into the base.
Yeah, and I think they could probably do it as well. The next spawn coming through for TDMA is Squib. Not sure Squib can 1v5. His next ally is coming up in 10 seconds, JT. It might be Coin Flippers backing off here, though. Instead of opting for that safer play, backing off, going for that Baron. I think it might be a good idea. I mean, JT definitely the strongest member of TDMA right now, so might cause him a little bit of difficulty, especially with the cage. So I think
it is the finals.
Backing off. Yeah, it's the finals as well, right? So you don't want to throw the finals going a little bit too greedy. So yeah, maybe a good play here.
Better safe than sorry for sure, and they do have a lot of gold in their pockets already. It has been spent up by a couple of members, but 1,800 we saw on Yoshimanor, 1,500 on Zero Armed, more than 1,000 on both the bot laners. So a lot of that gold lead was in the inventory, so they're going to go spend it and then probably go back and look for one more fight before they end the game, and I don't think you can blame them for that at all, right? It is the finals. You're up 2-0. You just want to close it by the book, get that Baron maybe, get another fight, and go end the game.
Yeah, definitely, and neither team is really close to a Dragon Soul win condition either, so it's not like there's that timer on the game, right? It really is just JT outscaling the entirety of Coin Flippers at this point is TDMA's win condition, and it's not coming soon enough to worry about really for Coin Flippers, right? I mean, we're at 25 minutes. It's not super late game at the moment, so they definitely have a while before JT just hard carries this game. So yeah, they definitely have the time to go for things like Baron, or even just look for picks, which I think is what they're doing now, playing side lanes and trying to secure the vision game as well.
For sure, Yoshimanor almost level 16, also something to watch out for. Kassadin does get quite a big power spike at that level, of course, gets another reduction in his ultimate cooldown, kind of goes Earth mode essentially on that one, and we might actually see a 3-man Baron started up here. Definitely they do have the damage to do it. Callista does Baron very, very fast. Yoshimanor can actually kind of tank that one up. He has the healing from that Rod of Ages. Zero Armed should be okay, although he has been stealth. Death Realm, I'm not sure you win that, actually. In the Death Realm, actually didn't go off. He must have been invisible on that one. I don't know what just happened. Zero Armed just blew my mind in a big way. Gets himself out. Squib finds himself taken out. And Zero Armed is alive and on the other side of the fight. So blink and you miss it. And he's taken out. Yoshimanor now on a rampage. Biz trying to go back in onto Zero Armed. Not going to be able to pick up the kill. He goes down. 4 members now down. It is just 1 left. The Varus going to fall as well. That's the ace coming through. 5 for 1, I should say. And it is the Coin Flippers pushing through the base. Nothing to stop them. And Axe, this was a dominant series. The Coin Flippers just came in. They were the superior team. The first Nexus Tower is under fire. The second Nexus Tower is under fire. They're going to be moving on to the Nexus, and the Coin Flippers, in 3-0 fashion, become the Style Esports Season 2 champions. 3-0 over Team Dark Matter Academy.
You know, Carl, I mentioned it happens sometimes in finals like this, that teams just get some momentum, get ahead of steam going, and that's it. 3-0 is the series, and I wasn't expecting this go around. I thought these teams were pretty evenly matched. I still think that, to be honest. I don't think Coin Flippers are like far and ahead away, but after this one, they are undisputedly the best team in Style Esports in Season 2. So congrats to the Coin Flippers. We'll definitely have to get them on stream a lot more next season for sure. This is a fun team to watch, Carl. I really enjoyed watching this one. A lot of fun picks coming out. The Hecarim coming through, casting here in the last game was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed myself this season.
Yeah, for sure. What a great season of Style Esports. I think, the Syndicate kind of finally saw some challengers in this season. They were the reigning champs from season 1. Now the Coin Flippers do join them as Style Esports champions. We'll see if they're able to defend their title moving forward here, and looking forward to that as well. We should be getting an interview here in just a couple of seconds with Yoshi Miner, I believe is the call, but we will see who appears in the Discord channel. It's always kind of fun on interview day for that, but a really great series by Coin Flipper throughout. Even when they had some disadvantages, their bot lane got behind a few games, a little bit of a setback in the top lane, they still stuck with it. They showed, mentality was definitely there. They weren't going to give up. They still fought with it. They realized their win conditions, and in this game especially, just playing really well. Charismatic got back into it. He was able to split push, buy a lot of time for his team. Yoshi Miner doing really well. Zero Armed popped off, blowing my mind in that last fight, like you heard. And, the bot lane just there, not throwing the game, doing what they could, landing some bindings, and just helping their team out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have Yoshi Miner in here in the chat with us. Yoshi Miner, congrats on the win, man. That was a pretty crazy series.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we always have a lot of fun here at Style Esports, if nothing else. But you had some pretty good drafts here, your team did. Were you a big focus for your team's drafts, or do you think it kind of spread out amongst the team?
I think it kind of spread out, not gonna lie.
Gotcha. Yeah, I noticed it seemed to be a focus that you had on the solo laners for sure in terms of picks. You had the Silas pick early in this series. Is Silas a pick that you're comfortable on?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite champions.
Gotcha, for sure. And in that first game 1, it seemed like your team had a lot of healing. Was that something you intended, or just kind of something that ended up happening?
It just ended up happening.
Yeah, okay. So I was wondering, man, because it seemed like that's kind of how you won between the Hecarim, Silas, and Maokai as well. There's just so much sustain and then healing too that you guys really made it work on that one. But you also had pretty good objective control here in this series. Is objective control like a focus for your team, or?
Yeah, we usually go really hard for objectives.
All right,
Like,
gotcha.
Dragon's really important for our team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just right now in season 10, they're so important and really impactful too. But yeah, so well played again, man. This is really cool. Are there any teams you're looking out for in season 3, moving into season 3? Anybody you're looking that can maybe take you down?
Maybe Sand Shinobis. I don't know.
All right, Sand Shinobi is the team to look out for moving into season 3. But with that, man, thanks for the interview. I really appreciate it. You got any shout outs for us?
Yes, I do. Zeha! Our old team captain. That's who I'm shouting out.
Shouts out to Zeha for sure. But thanks for the interview once again, man. I appreciate it. And I'll kick it back to you, Carl.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yoshi Miner. Like you said, and congratulations again on the win, but always nice to chat with the players a little bit after the series, of course. But yeah, we're just gonna chat here a little bit before we decide to send it off here. You have any closing thoughts on the series, Axe?
To be honest, in terms of closing thoughts, I wasn't expecting Coin Flippers to be this dominant, for one, but also, it was just really well drafted. I think was the big takeaway, is that they just had phenomenal drafts. Every pick really seemed to fit well into the team comp, but also have a good shot at winning the lane too. It really didn't seem like they gave up anything as far as flex picks or dropping a lane priority or anything like that. So very well drafted.
Yeah, for sure. They really seem to understand what they wanted to do with each pick in these games too. That I thought was very smart for them. And the macro play for me was the big surprise in this. But exactly like you just said, I think Coin Flippers 3-0ing the series was definitely a surprise. TDMA looked really dominant in these playoffs, as did the Coin Flippers, of course. And it's kind of always hard to tell, right, when you have two sides of the bracket with teams that never really interact, which one of them is going to come out on top. And in the end, it did turn out to be the Coin Flippers in this series, and congrats again, of course, to them for winning Style Esports Season 2 and their share of the $200 prize pool. But that is going to do it for us here in Style Esports for the second season. We invite you all to join us for Style Esports Season 3 coming up shortly. There will be games starting in just a few days here on the Style Esports channel. It's the same channel. You can keep that channel tuned, keep the dial where it is for all of that action. The format has changed a little bit. We will have some explanations of that once those games start, and in the Discord if you want to check that out. Link for that is below the stream, along with our website, YouTube, and a few music credits you can find out down there. But without any further ado, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all so much for watching. On behalf of myself, Axman87, Sky Ripper, who has been our lovely host tonight, we thank you for your support during the second season, and we hope to see you for the third. Good night.